feeling ever. But how is everyone doing?
We're good.
We're
Feeling
good.
better than you, I think, buddy.
Yeah, apparently
Yeah.
so.
Less
Bam,
stressed
there we
on our
go.
behalf.
I'm chill, baby. I'm chill. I always forget that Discord is like a whole thing. There we go. Right, we're back. And everyone's actually on camera. Sweet. This is welcome to session 4 of We Need a Plan. It's kind of crazy. We're 4 sessions in.
Yeah.
We're actually about 7 sessions in, but we did some stuff to ourselves beforehand, which we have recordings of.
Mm-hmm.
But welcome and thank you for coming
We will
along
sell it
by. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching it on YouTube. We are a bunch of people who play D&D together. Unsurprisingly, you're probably watching this on YouTube where it tells you it's D&D, or you're watching this on Twitch where it tells you it's D&D. But we are, as I said, 4 sessions into our Count Strahd campaign. These lovely faces you'll see around you. Snake's half on the screen. Sean is right in the top centre. Harry's off to the top right. Sophie's to my left, and Elliot, last but not least, is right here to my right. Sort of right around there. My hand just disappears into the darkness. But we are a group of individuals who like to play D&D. You guys are doing well. I guess we can just dive right into it because we're tiny.
We were a bit cold.
We were a tiny bit behind schedule. But we'll just, like I said, dive into it where we'll do a quick recap. So last session, you guys had a pretty rough time. The session before that, and it ended on you guys leaving a fight where one of your number died but didn't die. She lost her eyes instead. Zadie suffered a pretty brutal beatdown by a bunch of zombies and powerful sort of direwolves, where she fell. The rest of the party was struggling as well, but managed to make it through. And Zadie sort of had a pretty rough vision before sort of being boosted back to life, but losing her sight, or at least losing normal sight. She still has blind sight, but at a very limited range and can't see light, which is pretty depressing when you're a cleric of Pelor, who is the god of the sun. The rest of the party, as I said, took pretty heavy beatings, but they survived, and after that moved on down to this encampment by the river, by the Sayre River, the Sayre Pool encampment there, with a bunch of these gypsy-like folk who turn out to be Vistani, as they're called. They are rather sort of fun, carefree bunch who were getting pretty drunk and telling some stories around a fire, which immediately drew the attention of Rhea, who sort of headed in. Everyone else a bit more apprehensive perhaps, but moved into the camp and started drinking and chatting with these folk, where they told a big tale of a story that happened about a year ago about a crazy sort of powerful wizard who tried to go and take on the devil himself, only to fall 1,000 feet or so to his death. They then were, after again sitting around treating their wounds a bit, were propositioned by one of the Vistani to speak to Madame Eva, this woman who they saw in a tent, who sort of turned out to be sort of a leader of sorts of these people in this area, who rather mysteriously knew quite a bit of information about the party already, sort of more information than she could have gleaned just by seeing them and meeting them. That being said, she offered to tell their fortune, which she did, or at least a sort of a prophecy kind of thing. Where she gave them a reading which you can, which is detailed before the party might speak about. I don't know, but it was a sort of a reading of several items or things of interest and power, as well as a quest was mentioned and an individual who would help them fight against the darkness. After this, they sort of went back, rested for the night. They were sort of welcomed into one of the tents. Whereby they none of them had any bad dreams for the first night in quite a while. They headed on from the camp to make their way to Vallaki, and after winding up through these small hills rising up into these small mountains, effectively they're not too steep, but it does definitely rise up from the valley where the river sort of sits. They passed through another set of gates similar to the ones that they entered Barovia.
Cool.
Again, the sound's still coming through. Muted, but not muted. It's crazy. And they ended up making their way through to another passageway where mist pulled in, and for the first time, an individual riding a flaming horse, which I believe this one dictated as Dictated as whatchamacallit, as the thing being a fiend and the individual being undead. The individual introduced themselves as Count Strahd von Zarovich, which was relatively clear by their nature of just bamfing out of thin air and being immediately threatened and by Ismark, who sort of approached, and after approaching with his weapon drawn, was, shall we say, convinced to perhaps fight against those he was working with. He turned and charged towards the party, whereupon the party, sort of not quite sure exactly how to deal with it, defended against him, tried to grapple him and grab him and stop him from violently attacking them, whilst Strahd sort of danced around and had a bit of fun just watching them squirm. After shadow boxing with Trundle for a little bit, and the party again hearing some noise off in the distance in the woods to the north and south, was sort of, shadow boxing, decided to crit Trundle and just dropped him in one hit. Just sending him like crunching to the ground, holding his chest, before sort of just chuckling, shaking his head slightly, and bamfing away on his sort of fiendish horse, taking, as the party, some of the party know and others don't, taking with him Ismark. The party is currently in a fog cloud, having sort of used it to try and defend themselves against the sort of attacks of this individual, and that's where we're picking up right in the middle of effectively combat, as they hear the sounds coming from the north and the south rushing in, which is and they're not quite sure what it is, but they have a round, and that is exactly where we're picking up. So you guys, I'm gonna throw it straight to you. I know I asked you last time what would you like to do. You all sort of pulled yourselves into this fog cloud, where we've also decided and understood that in terms of how blind sight works, because fog isn't physical per se, Zadie can see right through it, which is quite an interesting little thing. You can't see through. You would actually be able to see through magical darkness as well. This is important to note, but you still see the fog as a sort of static. But just so you're aware.
Ella's got my back.
I don't know about that. But for everyone else, you are effectively at the moment blinded in this fog. You know roughly where you are. Rhea, I'll say you're aware of where the bounds of the fog cloud are. But I'll give you all one round. As Guzza, you feel Ismark, who's held in your large hand as Richter sort of enlarged you all, or enlarged you and Zadie. You feel him sort of just disappear from your grasp. Your hand sort of slams shut, and you're left sort of wondering what's going on. So I'll give you a one round. We'll use the initiative order that we have to dictate what you'd like to do. And again, you can talk a little bit and whatnot. You have, say, a little bit more than a round, but for ease of purpose, I'll do it in a round order. So, Rhea, what are you doing? You've hidden yourself in the fog. You hear as Strahd sort of just says, as he moves his way over with his fiendish horse and just sort of says, Ismark, come on, let's go. And poof, disappearing out. You see, I'd say, because you're on the edge of fog, you see him ride off as he swings himself up on the horse, but you don't see Ismark disappear, shall we say. So what would you like to do?
Right, so can I, if I'm sort of out of the fog, can I see anything in the distance? Cause...
go ahead and make a perception check. I'll say with disadvantage. Should be clear wide and just a little bit.
Okay.
This is not battle music, it's not right in the midst of battle right now.
Wow.
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, unfortunately, because you're in and out of the fog, you kind of look out, you can just see like a faint puff of almost smoke where the horse's hooves were as it just pushed itself off to ride away. There's almost just these imprints that are left. Imagine like a lesser version of the burning tire tracks from the DeLorean in Back to the Future. Just a couple of hooves.
Yeah.
But that's all you see. That's what you notice because it's right in front of you. You also hear sort of movement in the fog, which you're expecting, and you can hear the snapping of twigs, but it's unclear where they're coming from, just sort of all around.
Okay, right, so I'll turn around and say, shit, I don't know where he's gone. I don't know where he went. Who's there? And I'll just put my hands out and just feel.
Yeah, you put your hand out. You connect with Victor without too much of a problem. Victor, as you've kind of been blinded and blurry-eyed today, the fog's a bit. Fucking goddamn it! It's the name. It's the K. Goddamn it, Richter. I'm gonna get that wrong so many times, and it hurts my soul. You'll find yourself feeling around in the fog, and you feel a hand come in and sort of catch you on the shoulders. You hear Rhea's voice saying, who's there?
Who's that?
I'd appreciate it if you did not grab onto me so tightly.
Oh, it's you. I
Yes,
won't.
it's-
Yeah.
My disappointment is shared.
So Rhea,
Fuck you.
rest of your turn, what would you like to do? You have movement effectively. I'll say it probably was your action to do a perception check. Take your time to look out.
Sure. I'm still hidden, I guess.
I'll say sure. You can keep it. Because you've just sort of looked around, and pulled yourself back into the fog. Honestly, no one without blind sight or those kind of things would be able to see you anyway. You're heavily obscured and you've hidden well.
Okay.
But anything else?
Yeah, I'm going to sort of feel my way deeper into the fog, just sort of keeping track of where the edge was and how many steps I take, sort of like going 1, 2, just in my head as I move what I assume to be closer to the center.
Yeah, I'd say because you're concentrating on the spell, you have a better idea. You do have to kind of push your way past Richter and through Arena, but you make your way. I'll say you're able to make your way more or less through the center, as you all hear this kind of just the brushing past. Arena sort of gasps slightly, but you're able to move through.
Yep. I say, something's coming. Get ready, and that's going to be my turn.
Okay, Guzza, you are quite big. You're on the edge of this. You can kind of you're able to sort of peek in, peek out. Excuse me. Is there anything you'd like to do?
How high is the fog?
It's about 20 feet high. So it's way higher than you are tall, even in your bigger form. It's slightly rounded, I guess, but even so, you're able to poke your head out a little bit earlier than everyone else, but maybe a foot or two earlier, as it sort of curves up.
Yeah, sure. I think just him slipping out my hands, I'll be show. Ismark. Although I guess he's gone now, isn't he? So
Yeah.
can I try and maybe make a perception check into the centre of the city to see if I can see my friends, or just try and wander in that way, knowing that's where they were last?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you want to make a perception check walking into the center?
Well, I just want to try and find my friends.
Yeah,
but,
I'd say without problem, you're able to kind of stumble through, shoving people out the way slightly, but not far enough to shove them. As you reach in, your hand hits a couple of them, and you hear these kind of like gasps and shrieks, and but again, it's relatively clear that you know who it is as you hear the heavy sort of metallic armor sort of move in. So you make your way to the center effectively, barely moving, using any movement. Is there anything you specifically want to do?
No, I think I'll just.
Okay.
Research.
Yeah, you are fully in the fog at this point, so visual is you can see maybe like half a foot in front of your face, and you're able to pull yourself and lower yourself down to know that Rhea's near you, Arena's near you. Richter, anything from you? Richter.
I think. Yeah, get used to that. I think.
I am. I just God, this instinct.
You know what? No, I'm gonna stay where I am.
Okay, so you should stay put
I'm
after your
just
little
gonna
chat
stay
with
put.
Rhea. Okay, perfect. Zadie, anything from you?
Howdy. I am going to tell everyone that I can see. Hey guys. So turns out I can see through fog now, which is great. So I'm gonna tell y'all where to point your pointy things.
I mean, yeah, I'd say because of the nature of the slightly moist air and the staticky kind of look around it, you're aware that it's fog. So yeah, just to be clear, because otherwise you can't technically see it in the same sense. It's more of like a slight haze over the view than anything else, rather than a.
Okay. So I've got your guys' back. Also, there's nothing scary in the fog with just us. And then I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds.
Just Richter then. Okay.
Okay, go ahead and roll for cure wounds. And I'm assuming that's the rest of your turn, so just healing yourself and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Woo.
Oh, nice roll.
Need
No.
that.
I don't think you needed that, but fair enough. Full health. Trundle, anything from you as you feel your friends pulling around you? You hear the kind of occasional gasps. You hear Zadie sort of in her chipper as ever way, just saying, "Oh yeah, it's everything. Like nothing's in the fog with us." And then you hear her sort of saying an incantation. And for all of you, there's a faint sort of just a very brief glow from her direction. You can kind of see it through the fog. You see that glow within the fog.
Now, that I can't see.
Yeah.
Trundle will, similarly to everyone else, him probably being quite confused and dazed after having just been downed, just reach out and try and find the people around him. And,
Yeah, any direction you reach, there's someone. You're able to hear them and feel them move past. Rhea does brush past you as she moves towards what she deems the center of this
and I'll
fog
say,
cloud.
we must leave. A formidable foe. Nothing I've ever seen before. We must go now. Please. That's all.
You all hear this from the center. It's kind of creepy as you hear Trundle's voice, slightly scratchy almost as he says this. Definitely sort of out of breath in a way as he you can hear him unsheathing his weapons, or in fact probably still drawn weapons in the center of the circle. As you hear Arena sort of just calling out, Guzza, you did sort of say Ismark, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you'll hear this voice from next to you, and just like again a couple of shrieks from her. But you hear the drawing of her blade as you hear her shout out, "Where is Ismark?" And you hear her sort of like brush her way out sort of away from you, out of the fog, and she'll look around and just sort of again, none of you can see her, I suppose. But she'll suddenly shriek and just say, "We have more incoming! Ismark!" And that's basically going to be her turn. Again, you can't see where she's looking, but I suppose she would say, "To the south, there's something's coming." And she'll put herself back into the fog. She knows you're all there. Rolling around to this turn, I guess I will need to roll initiative here, so bear with me. Okay. Okay, so you start to hear the sound of things breaking and snapping coming in from the trees, sort of to the north and to the southeast.
Oh god.
But again, all of you are in fog clouds, so I'm not actually going to reveal anything because none of you can see it. So, Ray, you hear these sounds, these almost like snarling sounds, these sounds coming from, again, both directions. And the sound of sort of breaking like trees, breaking branches, bits of brush being just ran through effectively, with seemingly complete disregard for them. What would you like to do? You are hidden in the center of the fog cloud. I
Question.
believe.
I see where they are.
Yeah, go with her for question first. I don't know where I'm pointing for the
No,
stream.
go.
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
I meant Zadie.
Yeah. Sean.
Can I see where they are?
You spent your action healing yourself. I'll say when it comes around to a turn, you can effectively make a check. But I mean, you did spend your turn healing. It's kind of an action to take the search action in combat, and this is all happening pretty quickly.
Okay.
I'll say you go ahead and make a check with disadvantage again because you're distracted from the heal.
No, I was just wondering because you said you weren't revealing it because we were in a fog cloud.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so if I reveal them now, you guys will sort of even unintentionally sort of meta your way of being like, we know that XYZ is in this direction, is there, kind of thing, and it'll change your perception. You don't know where it is, so you don't know where it is. But go ahead and make a perception check with disadvantage.
Okay.
Damn, he saw through our meta plan so quickly this time.
No, I don't. I trust you guys, but it's human nature to be like, I kind of know where that is, so it changes my perception. Whereas if you don't know, you will act as if you don't know.
Guzza's not a human though.
What is Guzza? That's a
No.
good question. You hear snapping and whatnot, Zadie, as you see. I'll say you see a figure in the woods, sort of just running out, sort of a blue-skinned individual making their way sort of in your direction. It seems to just be running towards the fog cloud. Its eyes almost catch. Well, actually, you can't see that, but you'll see this. You at least see this one figure sort of barreling their way through, just running through slightly longer claws and whatnot. That's what you see.
Okay.
So Rare,
So,
you
are
see
we back to
nothing.
me? Oh, okay.
Guzza, you're next.
Oh, but
We lost Sophie.
We lost her. We lost Sophie.
Brilliant, top notch.
We lost her to the fog.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question that I was going to ask?
Yes,
while-
sorry, go for it.
So, as we know, I cast Protection from Evil on myself
Mm-hmm.
earlier.
You did.
How earlier was earlier? If it's a 10-minute spell.
Oh, it's
I'm
still
pretty sure
going. This
pretty
has
quick.
been this
Yeah.
has been one round since Strahd disappeared, and you cast it maybe 3 rounds ago. So you've still got it.
For ages.
99% of the spell left.
Sure, perfect.
Yeah. And I believe Fog Cloud's also 10 minutes, but I will double check. Whilst we are waiting on Sophie's return, and she's back, I believe.
am I here?
You are
Yeah,
back
yeah.
now. Hey.
Oh, good.
So
Okay.
yeah, what would you like to do?
Yeah. I'm going to say, Zadie, tell me where you are, and I'm going to start fumbling around for rope in my stuff.
Yeah, you know where it is. You're more like able to find it without any real issue. Sort of like you interact with object. So yeah, you pull out rope.
and I'm gonna sort of just hold one end out to wherever the direction that I heard Zadie speak.
Yeah,
from.
her voice was slightly louder than usual, and her voice is usually quite loud anyway. So you reach it out in the rough direction. You saw the glow. It's still just fading from her cure wounds spell. Yeah, you had. I'll say for the purpose of this, you're able to, Zadie. You're able to just grab it if you choose to. Yeah. So she hands it to you. You've handed it to her as you kind of connect with her much larger gauntleted hand.
Oh yeah, I'm huge.
You are. It's tough because that's you're kind of. I'll say it's your bonus action. That's fair.
Yeah,
it's your bonus action to hand it over.
Yep.
Because you've already pulled it out and whatnot. But yeah, so you hand her the rope. What else would you like to do?
Okay. I want to then start backing away. If I feel I grab the rope, I want to start reversing and just trailing the rope out behind me onto the ground.
Yep, you can do that. So you sort of step up to her, you find her, you hand it, and you start moving your way back. It was just heading south, effectively.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just start trailing
yes.
back.
And just say, everybody, move away from the noises. Move away from the noises. And.
Okay. So you've handed this. Oh god, it's just going to draw a shape, isn't it? So you've handed this to Zadie. How far back are you going?
I'm gonna. Well, as close as I can go to the edge of the fog cloud. I mean,
you're able to basically step to the edge.
Yes.
It's what, 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. You can actually step out. You can reach the edge here and step out if that's what you'd like to do.
No, I want to stay in.
Okay, so you make it to the edge. You are still blinded, effectively.
Yeah.
Cool. But you've handed the rope to Zadie.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So it's just trailing on the ground. You're not holding it taut or anything.
Yes, and just tell everyone,
Sure.
move to the other side, away from the things, whatever they are.
Yeah, you do hear
Away
snarling.
from the noises.
You do hear snarling, however, coming from the south of you, as it is right now. But you still have an action effectively because I said there's a bonus action. You've moved.
Yeah. No. Well, I'll hold my action and just to hold steady on the rope. If
you can just hold on the rope, sure. I'll say yeah.
Sure.
You're able to hold on the rope. But like, what is there anything you'd like to do, and what would trigger it? You've got to be a bit more specific about hold action.
I just want. No, nothing's probably going to trigger it this time round, so I'll just leave it and just encouraging everyone to move across, trying to get people to go to the other edge of the fog cloud.
Sure. Okay. Guzza, you're up.
Hearing this, sort of slightly confused, I can probably hear her coming from my north to my south as she passes me.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking, because I can also hear noises to the south, so I'm going to be a little bit scared for her. So I'm going to try and turn and move out of the. Oh, we're in a battle now.
We are. Lacrimosa's a bit too specific. Yeah. So you are still blinded. What would you like to do? Sorry.
I'm going to move south.
Okay. So you sort of step 5, 10. You feel yourself pulling out of the fog. I would say as you get to there, as you sort of your head really crests through the fog cloud, you see to the south, no real check required because you're looking out and you can hear them. 2 figures sort of rushing through. One definitely physically more imposing than the other, with a more sort of pale white skin. The other one slightly more bluey grey. The white skin one is slightly larger and is nearer you. And as it sees you sort of move out the fog, its vision just turns to you and you see it sort of like hiss, its large tongue flipping out slightly before it starts to lunge towards you. But that's only 10 feet of your movement. You've still got 30 feet. So you've still got 20 more feet of movement.
Do I not get more feet because I'm a big boy?
I don't think you do.
It only doubles your size, your weight, and plus 1d4 to attack.
I'm slower.
Yeah. I mean, fire giants are huge and they have 30 feet movement speed. So same kind of deal.
But
You're bigger, but not like faster. You know.
That is a weird thing.
Would you like a 60-foot running fire giant? No.
I would love it, but I think
I
that's
wouldn't like a single fire giant.
fair. So, what would you like to do, Guzza?
I would like to see this. Do I recognise these beings? Is this a check? I mean,
yeah, I'll say because of your religious nature, go ahead and just make a we'll say a religion check. It's undead-esque, so why not? You recognise them as more violent undead than zombies. I'll say you recognise the one to the eastern one as a ghoul without any real issue. You've probably faced things like this in the past, despite the fact you have definitely already faced them. The other one you don't think you've seen before. It looks like a souped up ghoul, effectively, but that's about as good as you've got for it. But the other one, yeah, the eastern one is definitely a ghoul. You see its slightly bluish tinged skin and eyes, its longish nails as it sees you and starts to move in your direction.
Alright, I'm gonna shout, ghouls! And then
You'll hear it.
try and like push, like try and move back into the fog and try and push Rhea
You'll
further away
effectively
from
you'll effectively step into Rhea. I'll say if you want to grapple, that'll be your action, and you'd be able to like friendly grapple, be able to move Rhea, being that you are physically larger.
I would like to do that.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, Ray, you feel as Guz's hand kind of like larger hand kind of reaches round your torso and just kind of picks you up as you just kind of feel like pulled with you and moving in that direction. Yeah, we'll say because you're larger, you've got another 10 feet of movement human at that point as the rope now gets really complicated.
What do you do, you freak? Get off me!
Ghouls! And I'm just gonna put you down again and just like turn to face them. Just
Sure. Again,
right.
yeah.
I know.
Perfect, cool. So the rope kind of comes with you. It goes a bit slack because it's shortened slightly. But Gaza, that's your turn as you move in. It is now. Interesting. So it is now the figures at the top's turns, who you haven't seen, but they're going to be rushing into this area. So this they're just rushing directly in your direction. They haven't seen anyone, but they've heard you. None of the only one who's effectively stealthed is Rhea, although you are all heavily obscured. And because of their prior instruction, they're just going to rush straight into the fog. This one is going to connect with you, Sadie, just in terms of it running into you. You feel this sort of humanoid form bump into you. It can't see you, so any attacks it has on you are at disadvantage. Meanwhile, the other one is just, again, you do see it as it sort of makes its way from distance 5, 10. Let me just double check. I think it's the same movement speed. Yes. 15, 20, 25, 30. It's just going to run in there, effectively flailing around. The rope's not taut, but I'll still make it a dex save regardless. Because it's running in completely blind.
I was thinking we just made a trip rope. Was that the idea?
I mean, effectively, it's quite easy to succeed on this because it's not taut, but there is a chance that it fails miserably. Yeah, 16's pretty good. It doesn't know the rope's there, but it lunges through and it kind of slams into your shin, Gutser, effectively, or your leg. Again, they're both going to make attacks, both at disadvantage because they are blinded. Even though it's really dumb, they're blinded, you're blinded, therefore they have advantage, therefore they have disadvantage. But the way I'm going to play not being able to see in combat for everyone is that you all just have disadvantage. It's just whilst you can't see anything. And obviously if you can, then you'll have advantage, they'll have disadvantage. But if you all have disadvantage, it levels the playing field, gives it a tangible thing rather than just shadowboxing in nothing. So disadvantage on you, Zadie, from the ghoul. That's only an 11 to hit. So its hand comes across, and you being able to see it, are able to just kind of sidestep as it lunges into the fog, slashing away at you. The other one, meanwhile, is going to. You also smell it. It smells horrible as it moves in. It is going to make a. This is going to be a claw attack at disadvantage at Guzza because it's the larger form. That he impacted.
I'm
16
as well.
with disadvantage. That hits. Okay, I need you to make a con save. Jesus. Oh wait. Oh, it had disadvantage anyway because you are protected. But it's So
I mean, you can't stack it. So.
No. So I need you to make 2 con saves. One for concentration. The other for thingy for the paralyzation. So unfortunately, protection against evil and good will drop from that. However, go ahead and make the second con save. It's a failure to DC 10.
I'll try and roll a hero point.
Okay, go ahead and roll your hero point.
Oh god.
Okay, you feel your body start tensing up as this thing slams into you. It's horrible, like odor just rippling like across your form. It reeks. But you're able to just keep yourself focused enough as the spell drops to maintain your physical movement. And you still stay large, so that's cool. But it slams its hand into you, and that is its turn. Richter, it is now your turn. You are blinded as well. You're concentrating on the spells. You can hear these sounds of slashing and crashing from your west and from your northwest. What would you like to do?
I will step out of the fog for a minute.
Okay, you step out.
I will cast I'm going to use my twin spelled, my last sorcery point, the twin spell Ray of Frost at the 2 blues at the bottom.
Okay, so you're twin spelling it. So go ahead and roll. Is it roll twice or is it? They've got to make a save.
I actually don't know. No, it's not a save. But it's
an attack roll. So as you see them, as you step out, you hear these things snarling. They're not actually looking in your direction, but as you send these flying out, their eyes do switch across. Both of those will actually hit, but the obviously the damage on the other one is not as.
Their movement speed reduced by 10.
Their movement speed is reduced by 10 as the ice slams into them, and it's. I mean, are you going left or right with those? To be clear.
What do you mean?
As in, which ones are you targeting?
Sure. I would go closest to furthest. So.
Okay, sure.
Furthest one away would take 1.
Sure. Okay. All right, perfect. And that was 6 on this one. Yeah. Okay, as they slam in, you kind of see as their heads sort of turn, the frost sort of rippling across them, slightly locking them down a bit. But they immediately look in your direction as that impacts. Very nice. What else would you like to do? It's your action. You've moved a little bit. You still have more movement.
I will move, but simply move back into the fog.
Okay.
I will step out. Pew pew. Step away.
Okay. Very nice. That's your turn. It is now the other group's turn. They've seen the direction you headed in. This one is going to. This one can't really reach anyone effectively. So
it can't.
Yeah, this one, however, can. It's going to run off in your direction. This one. It's going to use a dash action, effectively slam up into Trundle and Richter. This one, however, is going to run in your direction, bumping into Arena. So it's going to make one attack against Arena at disadvantage. So at disadvantage, the claws on Arena. That is... Her AC's 15. She's wearing a breastplate. So you hear this sound of like slamming and scraping. And you hear Arena just gasp and just say, "There's one here!" And that will be their turns. Very nice for the frost. So Zadie, you're up. You see as these two run from below. There's one that runs from above. And if you bear with me one moment. No, you're good to go. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna hit the red one with a mace, hopefully. So what am I rolling because I'm giant?
You roll with advantage because you can see it, it can't see you, so it's effectively blinded from your attack. And yeah, if you hit, you roll an additional d4. And obviously if you crit, that doubles as well. This dice.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so just go ahead and roll the attack as normal and then roll the d4. There's the crit that I called out. You rolled a 20 and a 19 as well. So go ahead and
Is that the first crit attack from us?
That's crit attack from me ever.
Yeah. So go ahead and also roll 2d4 as well, as the mace slams in, poof, bashing this thing out of the fog.
Roll 1d4 and double it, or roll 2d4.
I prefer just rolling both sets of dice, but I mean I think it's just easier. It's more transparent that way, and you don't get fucked over by really shitty rolls. Usually it balances out a little bit more in terms of rolling big damage. So
it's up to you.
Roll 2d4. Okay, well there you go. Bounded accuracy. So you smack it for 13 damage as this mace just pulling with it a little bit of fog, cracking this thing in the side of the head, dealing quite a bit of damage to it as it staggers back, snarling and sort of lunging in your direction again. But again, it's not its turn. That's your attack. You still have movement and a bonus action.
Do I still get an attack opportunity? I didn't know that.
No, you don't.
No, there's no way. Okay, I'm actually... So I'm going to move. Just like... I stay both... Does that stick me out?
Yeah, effectively. You are quite big. It would do. At that point, it would be able to AoE if you then moved away whilst it could see you. But I'll say, I mean, you can kind of move diagonally down if you want to stay.
Okay, I'm just. No, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna stay where I am, and then as my bonus action, I'm just going to yell out as many positions of where things are to try and help my friends.
Sure. I mean, it's pretty difficult when they're completely blinded.
I mean, so they're aware of them.
Yeah, they're also aware of this horrible smell emanating from the center of this area, amongst other things. But yeah, you're able to sort of yell out, they're in between you, but without the kind of visual points, it's pretty difficult to aid them in any meaningful way. but you do still have the rope attached. You still do have the rope held in your shield hand, I'll say. That's your turn. Trundle, you're up. I need you to make a Constitution save, please. As the smell of this creature near you is just, it's overpowering. It's almost making your eyes water. So a Constitution save from you, sir.
Oof.
Okay, that is a failure. As this creature sort of stands near you, again, just sort of, it bumps into you, and it doesn't have time to attack. It had to dash to get there. But you feel your eyes sort of stinging and watering. It sends you kind of reeling back and giving a bit of a pounding headache. You are poisoned for this round. What that means is you have disadvantage on any attack rolls and I believe saving throws until the attack rolls and ability checks, not saving throws. So you have disadvantage on attack rolls and things. Not that it matters too much because you're in a fog cloud anyway. You can still sense where it is. But what would you like to do?
Now noticeably being under a little bit more stress, I think, and knowing and hearing the clash of metal and floors on metal and all of that, Trundle will again begin to start hyperventilating. We'll call out, Richter, it's going again. And he will move at the same time, kind of, if possible, through between them.
I'll say sure, you can move through allies.
Activate his hybrid form.
Okay.
Letting loose a sort of man cry, which turns into just a howl at the end. Which I won't do, because I don't want to give everyone that horrible experience.
That's alright. You shift and transform, you feel the fur kind of puffing out from your clothing, and again your mind sort of pulls away from your head a little bit. That's your action. You still have a bonus action and a bit of movement.
Quick question. When I'm unconscious, do I lose my blood right on my weapon? I presume so.
Yes, you do. It's considered incapacitated, so I believe that's the blood rate will drop.
Yeah. I won't activate another one because HP, huh? Alright, that's the end of my turn.
And that mark is just to indicate that you're poisoned. Okay, it's now Arena's turn. Arena, again, sort of having this thing nearly slam into her from below, is going to again slash out at it with disadvantage with her rapier, and she's just bringing a blade across. It does hit, but it's minimum damage. As it cuts across, you hear this kind of snarl come from this being beyond, and she will pull herself away and out of the fog, not able to see anything, but she'll just call out and just go, "Ismark, where is he?" And that'll be her turn. That is, she's got herself out there. Rhea, it's back around to you. Gus, you're up next.
Okay. Hearing the commotion of this and smelling this thing that's probably come up quite close, I'm going to just try and make a...
Oh yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I need you to make a con save. Sorry.
Do I? Okay.
You do.
A saving throw. Okay. Oh, not at disadvantage.
That's also a failure.
So I'm poisoned as well?
You are effectively poisoned until the start of your next turn. Which means, again, like I said, you have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. As the smell just overpowers you. So it's like almost like a sulphurous smell mixed with death and sweat. It's painful to smell, and it sends you reeling. But you are still able to take your turn as normal otherwise.
Okay, I'm gonna try for a booming blade attack on the thing that just poisoned me.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack roll with disadvantage.
Okay.
As you sort of swing through the fog towards where you can smell this creature coming from. It's almost like the easiest identifier is its smell.
Is the fog concentration or?
The fog is concentration. Being poisoned won't break that, however.
Okay.
So 9 will not hit, unfortunately.
No. Okay. In that case, I'll use my cunning action to, to hide again.
Sure. I mean, you have a blade that is just going to kind of snap and crack, but it didn't damage it. Go ahead and make just a stealth check. It should be a flat check. Because you are heavily obscured. You are heavily obscured.
Or because of the poisoning.
I mean, technically, it's a tough one. I'll just make a flat roll because you are heavily obscured, but you're also at disadvantage. So just even it out. Just go for a flat roll. Okay, yeah. As the blade sort of snaps and cracks, you're able to sort of throw the sound a bit. As it doesn't impact, but it does sort of snap near, and this creature sort of, you hear it sort of snarl, not quite sure where the sound came from, but it definitely has a physical form it's aware of, and that would be Gaza. Is that your turn?
That's my turn. I'm
Okay.
just gonna not use any movement, just stay very still.
Yep. Gaza, need you to make a con save, please.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. 20 is a success. The smell kind of appears to be, you're almost higher above it than the others, therefore it's not quite as close, and it's not quite as painful. What would you like to do? Again, you can feel the presence of these two beings near you, but you can't see them.
I'm gonna try something here.
All right.
Divine sense.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say. Okay, this is a different one. It's the heavily obscured is effectively blinding people, meaning you can't see them. But that being said, that this effect is obviously quite, it's a powerful effect.
Anyone extent you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead
Yes.
within 60 feet of you?
So you pick
I'm sure
up
that's one of those things.
when it's not behind total cover. So that's a very important thing to note.
Oh, fuck.
That being said, this isn't, again,
enough.
I'm going to go with the same logic of blind sight in some regard, in that you feel the presence of two undead right next to you, one larger undead a little bit further away, and then two other undead sort of one east, one north. The larger undead does appear to be coming from where Zadie's voice has been coming from. Again, you get the very, very, very faint tingle, the tiefling tingle and the Aasimar tingle as well of the celestial and fiend, but it's not enough to kind of mean anything. The others, however, stand out pretty clearly.
Cool.
Cool, that's your action.
I think that's an action, isn't it?
That is.
So I think I'm going to save my. Screw it. I'm going to spend another spell slot and cast Divine Favor.
Okay. That. Oh yeah, you don't have concentration going at the moment, so your weapon sparks into life and again ripples with that faint radiant aura. It is concentration, but you've also got your special weapon. We'll use that to indicate it. So your weapon, lights up slightly. Is that your turn?
My turn.
Okay, it's now Red Squad. Yeah, Red Squad. So this one that's just been impacted is it's violently swinging at you, Zadie, again with disadvantage because it can't actually see you still. It see where it's coming from, but it still can't see your weak points and so unable to target you. The one next to you two, because Ray is sort of successfully hidden right next to it, but because of how it's worked out. It is just going to attack towards Gaza at disadvantage. So the ghoul on Zadie is a 6, so it doesn't even land. You're able to see it. It can't see you. It lunges forward. Its hand does connect with you, but none of the claw, just the kind of the fist almost impacts with your sort of leg guards and doesn't do anything. The ghast, however, at disadvantage, is a 9. So no, it doesn't. As it sort of swings at you guys, it just doesn't impact. The booming blade sort of fucking with its senses ever so slightly. It just misses. However, again, the smell is echoing away from it. As you succeeded, you're immune to the effect of its scent for the rest of the fight, effectively.
Yes.
Yeah. So Richter, you're now up. You can feel this thing breathing heavily near you. I need a con save, please.
Gross.
Come on. Succeed.
That's a success. Right. The smell's nothing too foreign from you as a medical practitioner, and you're able to just reel back from it slightly. You can sense roughly where it is. You can also hear this growling. Yeah, you can hear this growling, howling coming directly from the south.
Okay, I'm going to step away over to here, and then I'm going to Ray of Frost the red one.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. As you brush past Arena. She almost swings at you as she sees you stumble out of there. However, as you sort of fling that out, the creature.
I'm going to use a hero point for that one, I think.
It's a natural 1.
It is actually.
You
Sorry,
can't. That's an auto miss, unfortunately. As you step out, it slings out.
It was bad, Chief. Alright, I will. How much of my move was that? That was like 20 feet.
It's 50. I mean, by the simple ass diagonal rules, it's 15 feet.
Alright, I will move to here.
Okay, sure. You sort of move your way back. So again, the fog's pulling in, but there's enough space outside for you to move along the path without any issue. However, as you send it flying, it sees you and sort of its head sort of twists towards you, catches Arena as well, and you see her sort of seeing you come out, fling in that direction. She's now focused on it. It's focused on sort of both of you. However, it's not its turn for a while. It is now Blue's turns, with one of the quarries moving away and someone howling right next to them, as they're no longer impacted by Ray of Frost. Yeah, they're both going to swing at you, Trundle, at disadvantage. So unlikely to hit, but they may do. So they've got to swing regardless. That's an 11, doesn't impact. The ghast itself is a 17, also doesn't impact as it swings at you. Again, you're stumbling through there, blinded by this whole mess. You sort of like barrel into them. They're exactly aware of where you are, but without being able to see you fully, they do not connect. Zadie, you're up.
I'm going to repeat what I did before and smash it.
Sure, and attack with advantage.
Give it a bash.
Okay, a 20 does hit. A 3 is low damage though. As this time it's sort of.
Roll your 1d4.
No, you do have a D4.
You do have a d4 on top.
Sure.
Okay,
there you go.
there's more damage than the rest of the hit. It's still standing as your mace comes in and catches it in the chest. This sort of enlarged weapon flashing into it, but it's still standing as it sort of lumbers around. It's almost not focused on you anymore, as it sees fleshy meat bags that it can actually see. Or what else would you like to do? That's your action.
Bonus action, I'll just yell.
You can yell for free.
Again. Oh, I'll yell for free then.
You have 6 seconds. You have 6 seconds. But
hey guys, so this one's here and this one's here, and Arena, get back in the fog.
Again, she hears your voice.
Come on.
She hears your voice, and she's like, "Just where is Ismark? I do not hear him." That'll be.
Get back in the fog, woman.
You see her apprehensive to do so, being that at the moment there's just the sound of snarls, kind of a horrible odour emanating from there, and howls as well coming from there. She looks apprehensive to get back in the fog whatsoever. That being said, well, Trundle, it's your turn.
I shall swing with my rapier.
Okay.
And miss, but valiantly so.
Sure. I'll say you need to make a con save first because you are next to this guy.
Did that work?
Okay, a
taking a bit to come
9 is a failure. So you are considered poisoned as well as this odor sort of hits you, causing you to sort of choke as you howl. However, you're aware of the presence. Which one are you swinging at?
I will likely swing at the left blue.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack with disadvantage.
Yes.
An 8 will not hit.
Right.
Okay.
That is my turn.
Okay. You swing, you turn, you swing through the fog. But again, not knowing where it is and sort of having stumbled around, you're kind of disoriented. The thing's seeing your eyes and nose. It doesn't connect. Irina at this point, however, is going to, seeing this giant mace coming out and bashing the school, is going to make her way over there. And she is going to make an attack. Sort of, you see kind of tears starting to form in her eyes, but there's also just this frustration and anger as she just slashes across at this thing, killing it actually with her 4 damage. It had 2.
Definitely soften that up.
Oh yeah, just a whole lot. She's sort of, like, this thing's like bleeding heavily. It's like as she comes towards it, it's starting to stumble towards her. Like again, mouth wide open. There's these huge puncture marks from the mace in its side, and she just kind of just steps over. And as it lunges forward, she moves to one side slightly. The rapier coming in and slotting into its abdomen, and she pulls it out, stepping back with the remainder of her movement as it just falls to the ground. But she doesn't look any less. She doesn't look any less worried as she sort of scans the tree line, scans the road with her blade held out. But that is her turn. Rhea, you're up again. Again,
Okay.
I need to make another con save, please.
Oh god. Okay.
Eight is another failure.
God.
Yeah, I would say this would probably break your. I won't make you make a concentration check for Fog Cloud yet, but it will break your hide effectively as you're coughing and spluttering from the smell of this thing just catching you in the face. You're trying to hold it in as you're trying to figure out where this thing is, holding the rope in one hand, but it sort of just rises in your nose and your throat, and you just have to. And you hear this snarl flick towards your direction. However, it is your turn. You are poisoned. What would you like to do?
I'd like to have another go at Booming Blade on this thing.
Okay, at disadvantage.
Yep.
10 will not hit.
I thought that. And I'm going to disengage for my bonus action.
Okay.
And I'm just going to start sort of moving away, and I'll probably eventually just move out of the fog.
Sure. You
That's
move out
fair.
the fog, looking around.
Sorry.
You don't see anything else.
Just
there.
dry heaving into the underbrush.
Yeah. Again, you didn't need to disengage, but you didn't know that, I suppose. So you
No.
move out. You move out, taking the rope with you.
I've probably dropped it. I will.
Okay. All right. So the
Oh
rope.
no, Ray's dead. Sorry, I can see you.
Yeah, that's true. You can see her spluttering out. So as she stumbles out, that'll be your turn. Guzza, you're up. I need. Oh no, you're immune to it. So as your weapon.
You need me
sparks
to
to
do a
life,
thing, is what you need me to do.
What would you like to do?
I'd like to throw aside.
All right, go
Oh,
ahead.
wait, or to attack with it. I don't actually want to throw myself.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Red.
Okay.
Mr. Rouge.
It is a disadvantage.
With disadvantage?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
what?
your divine sense pings where they are at the time. In fact.
Wow, yeah, okay.
This is
You know that whole thing again?
this is interesting. So you're
Thank you.
to the end of your next turn.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. In that case, yeah, you are aware of where they are. The looming presence behind them, this sort of almost demonic form that you see through the fog, this undead, worries you, but you are aware that it's Zadie. Go ahead and make an attack with advantage.
Oh, I thought. Oh, okay, brilliant.
Yeah, because you
Wow.
effectively can see where they are. They cannot see you.
Great.
It's very messy in terms of how you deal with combat in a fog cloud or darkness, but in this case,
Yeah.
you can see them. You can sense where they are, and it cannot see you. Yeah, the 22 will definitely hit, and you can go ahead and roll your additional D4 for that.
Nice. That's radiant damage as well, if that means anything.
It is indeed.
And-
Okay. Is it?
I think I'm going to.
This is
expend-
red. Sorry, to be clear.
Yes, it was red.
Okay.
Oh no, it's an action. Sorry, never mind.
Yep. Attack is an action. Oh, you mean something else? I see. Yeah, your weapon sort of bashes into it, cutting a swathe. As you see, it's going to form. As it sputters out the vision you have of it, but not before you kind of see it stagger to one side from the impact. It's again, as you can't see, you can't really tell how it is, but the snarl gets louder as it kind of hammers up against your shins. Is that your action? Is that your turn? Sorry.
Yes.
All right. It is now the remaining Ghast's turn. You've hit it. It is going to just try and attack you again. It's not particularly. It's not stupid.
Which one is
this is
this?
the one attacking Gus.
Red.
Yeah, which color though?
Red.
Red.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Red. Well, which color? Red.
The
Sorry,
red.
I didn't catch that.
You can't see it, so Sentinel's not effective here, unfortunately. However, 15 doesn't hit, as I believe your AC is 16.
16.
Yeah, so as its thing slams across, it catches you and scrapes along you. The last of your sort of vision, making you able to move out the way, just in time as you see the claws kind of come at you and fade out. That's the only one that can act here. I mean, it's gonna move around slightly, but not for any tangible reason. It's just sort of slamming at you and shifting around during the fight. Richter, you're up. You can see no enemies. You can hear sounds, but they are just in the fog.
Right. I can't see anyone.
You can.
Well.
Just hang out.
Just gonna kind of waltz back over here, and I guess just sort of take a step half in, half out the fog. Just kind of wait here, sandwich in between Zadie and.
Well, I mean, you can't see Zadie. However, you can definitely bump
Okay.
into Zadie.
Okay, I will bump into what is a large shin of Zadie.
Sure. As you step into the fog again, you hear the snarling to the south, but you cannot make anything out here. Just hear sounds in amongst the fog.
Oh yes, I forgot about that spell.
Is that your turn?
Real well.
That's a me.
Okay. The two that are here, yeah, they are just going to continue to attack as they can kind of still sense the impact left upon Trundle by Strahd. At this point in time, yeah, just going to continue to attack. That's a 22 from the Ghast on Trundle, so that will hit. Trundle, I need you to make a con save, please. As you take 12 points of slashing damage, which reduced to 6.
Do we want to just keep critting me like all day?
That's not a crit. That's just a normal.
Oh shit!
No,
No,
it's just very good damage.
Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't see that.
Sorry, I jinxed you earlier.
Yeah, 1 second. My roll 20 is spazzing out again. So whenever I take damage, my computer's like, nope.
You know what?
You are still up, but I need a con save. That is a failure. You can hero point this. It is a DC 10, if you would like.
Yeah, go on.
It's 50-50, mate.
D6, yeah?
No.
Wait, I rolled 16 straight up.
You just type 16.
No, you just type 16.
I skipped the D. So
You just hit the D.
I'm rolling
need the D.
16.
Again, 11's a success. Again, guys, remember to mark your hero points decreasing as this goes on. As the impact hits you, you kind of like sputter and stagger. The ghoul, however, is also going to try and claw you from behind. Also with disadvantage.
I mean, I am down from.
You're not. You have resistance to blood. You have resistance to damage. So you're down to 4 damage.
That is
And a 10 will
ridiculous.
not hit as it swings at you at your back.
Totally
But you are
forgot
down at
that.
4 hit points as it impacts into you.
That's
Again,
quaint.
the smell sort of intoxicating you, kind of causing you to feel nauseous. Zadie, you're up. The thing in front of you has been kind of finished off, mercy killed almost by Irina. However, you sort of spin around and see in the fog that there's one of these things haranguing into Gaza as Rhea staggers away out of this sort of staticky field that you see. The other one, the ghast there slamming into Trundle, sort of almost knocking him to his feet. Knocking him off his feet. But he's still alive and breathing, barely.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go for Sacred Flame on Blue, the one who just.
Okay. Bear with me 1 sec. I don't think there's any impact on it not being able to see it, especially because it's just a dex save. But I'll double check. Yeah, it doesn't require sight to be able to defend yourself against it. So it's a dex save, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. That was at disadvantage, which it wouldn't have. The first roll, however, was only a 3, so yeah, it fails regardless. Rolled a 6, and it is 5 damage as you sort of light it up. It's so focused on the blood, it's just splashed out of this hybrid werewolf figure that it doesn't even react to the impact of the flame wrapping up around it, and it just singes it slightly as it just starts to tear into Trundle.
Cool.
That's your
I'm
action.
good. Healing Word.
Oh,
at
yeah, you
level
can totally-
2.
Mhm.
Which I think does. Sorry. Double checking. That just increases it.
By a D4, yeah.
No, by. Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
Which one is it? Healing Word. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it'll
what
increase
I
it by a
was expecting.
D4, and it'll also increase it by another 1 because of the nature of your Life Cleric ability.
Yeah, so this is on Mr. Trundle, so he gets that plus 4.
Thank you so much.
Wait, where were we?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what it's done. Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah. It's because you've rolled it at advantage, but it doesn't actually change the dice rolls. So
No,
yeah.
it doesn't.
So I'm just making sure we've. God, did we add that effect? Rolled
No,
a 3,
we haven't added it
4
yet.
and a 3 and a 2. Yeah, it rolled a 4 and a 2 plus the 3 of your wisdom. Yeah, so on top of that, you've got another 4 points because you're casting at second
That's-
level. So
yeah,
it'd be
so
a
it's
total of
13
13. Yeah. So I'm my brain is still sort of chugging the maths here. Yeah. So as these words come out, Trundle, like Zadie, what do you say when you cast Healing Word?
I will say, let the sun rise on you, Trundle. Feel the power of Pelor.
As you say that, your words almost suffocate and smothered. However, Trundle, you do still restore the hit points, but you just hear this voice whisper in your ear. It's dark, it's twisted. It sounds a little bit like Zadie, but like Zadie down a long echoing hallway, just about making it to your ears. Just says, "Your time hasn't come yet." And that's what you hear. But it does restore your health. As you
Thanks,
sort of
lady.
come back. So Zadie, that's your action. Trundle, I need you to make a con save for your frenzy. It'll just be a DC 10.
Yeah. Sorry, everything is always taking its time. Go on, save.
Okay, you're fine. Yeah. You feel your mind flicking around, but the healing kind of reinstates your form a bit. What would you like to do? You can feel these things near you.
I would attack the nearest form to me. Also, I think it's actually a wisdom throw.
I also, I actually do need to make another con save, but for the purposes of this, okay, you're still poisoned, but you, and again, it kind of causes you to stagger back. Your eyes are now streaming. But what would you like to do?
I'll attack just the nearest. Oh, that's not a disadvantage.
That's all right. So. Just roll again. We'll take the first damage. But even 17 will hit. So
nice.
as you slash across, for 10.
Best case.
As you slash across, you hear this thing sort of scream out. Blood kind of splatters across your hand. Again, your mind is a little bit shaky, but it kind of just cuts across, and you hear it like scream out almost. That's your action. You still have bonus action movement.
No, I will stay put. And just sort of scream a bit.
Okay. It is now Arena's turn. Arena is going to stay near where Zadie's voice is, near Richter. But she has a weapon drawn. She's just going to take the dodge action. Just sort of trying to be more aware of anything around her. I'm just trying to figure out what she used for dodge action. The boot, because it's kind of like... and she'll move herself right round here, so that she's far enough away from the fog that if anything comes out, she has time to move a little bit. Rhea, you're up.
Okay.
You splutter out. Your eyes are still streaming. You're no longer poisoned, I believe, because it's until the start of your next turn. Until the start of your next turn, because it happens at the beginning of your turn. So you're no longer poisoned.
Is it specifically the smell of this thing that's doing this?
Yes.
Okay, I'll
stench.
A second or two is like, I am so fucking stupid. I'll turn around and go back in, but before I do, I will just stop breathing. And
sure. As you deal with real life problems in this scenario, you make your way back in again. Sort of just the stench rising up again. It doesn't impact you because it's not the start of your turn, but you can feel it kind of just again searing your eyes somewhat. Go ahead and make your attack at disadvantage.
Booming blade again. Attack. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, come on.
The fight you expect to last 45 minutes is already an hour underway.
Well, no one can see anything.
Yeah, because of permanent disadvantage. It's like
sorry, it went through twice because it.
That's
delayed.
right. Both failed. But yeah, that's fine. You slash through. It doesn't impact with anything. The sort of fizzling of your blade again just kind of pops out in the within the static. But that's your action.
Yep. And bonus action, I will disengage and move back out again to where I was.
Yeah, you make your way back out. Its attention is somewhat drawn by this sort of darting in and out. However, it's not its turn yet. So Guzzet, you're up. You hear this thing snarling near you at disadvantage now because it has sort of again the fight's moved on. The end of turn has shifted
as well.
But you're still aware of roughly where it is, but the disadvantage just applies. A 10 will not hit, unfortunately. So as you swing through, again, you can hear where it is, but it's shifting form in this mass as your scythe with almost a faint hum just moves through the air, unimpacting anything. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. That's your turn. At this point, it is that guy's turn. I'm just gonna roll a d2 because it has this constant pop sound coming in near it, and it doesn't seem to be getting any headway getting to fresh meat that it wants to eat. So rolling the d2 left to right is gonna go sort of rushing out towards this sort of fizzling sound and the footsteps of in the mud is gonna rush its way out of here. And again, it's probably going to rush to about there before it sort of like really pulls out of the fog, makes clear of where it is, turn, and is going to try and swing at you. Just a flat roll.
You ugly motherfucker.
Yeah. So with its claws, it swings, and it's a 15 to hit.
I can't see you. So.
Cool. A 15? Does that hit?
No.
Your cloak of protection. Yeah, okay.
Oh, wow.
One AC makes such a difference. It saved Trundle's life, I think,
Doesn't
literally.
It 12 AC?
I don't know, does it? Does it
I
feel like
don't. Yeah, it saved me,
it-
like,
Well, I need 12.
It
would you
saved you
need
about
0?
25
Okay,
damage, Trundle, last fight, or the fight before.
I may as well have
so-
shame that I. Yep.
Well, it doesn't protect you against
Okay, okay.
non-physical damage. However, that's its turn as it sort of swings out angrily, trying to grab you. Again, its claw actually catches in your cloak slightly and pulls back angrily. That is its turn. Richter, you're up. Again, you hear snarling, you hear stuff within.
I can't cast any spells because I can't see anyone.
Oh, that's a point. I need you, Rhea, to make. Oh, it doesn't hit. Sorry, it doesn't hit. Yeah. I was literally like, you need to make 2 checks. You don't. It didn't hit you. So Richter, yeah, you can't see anything. But what
I
would you like
can't
to
see
do?
anything.
Correct.
I can't cast anything. I don't know.
Just kill a bit
Get
more.
over here and help me.
Do you have
Go.
anything?
You can't tell.
Do you have anything that would buff me, the person who can see and is next
No,
to me?
I've already burnt all my concentration buffing like you and Guzza.
That's fair.
Anyway, Guzza, have you made any like attack rolls recently?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Anything that hit?
There was one that hit,
Yes.
but you didn't
Oh,
remember it
did
at
it?
the time. So
Oh,
you got the
okay.
D4 from your divine favor. Didn't get the D4 from being enlarged.
D4 from
You
being a
missed
big
it,
boy.
unfortunately. You've got to remember the buffs
Right.
you apply on each other. So
I'm gonna step over here and I'm gonna
You don't know
Rhea
that
from-
person is out there, so you don't. You
Yeah.
have no context on why, like, heading over there. You do not know that thing has left the fog cloud, and you haven't moved for the previous turn, so you don't just magically know it's out there. Unfortunately. Again, go ahead and make a perception check at disadvantage,
Sure,
because
why
you
not?
can't. You don't just immediately know it's out there. This is why,
Let me-
there is a big ass fog cloud, way
Where is
blocking your
perception?
view, in the way.
Let's see.
So.
Now is the moment where I roll bad on perception. Let's find out. A
Yeah,
six.
amongst the sounds of snarling, fighting, howling, and clashing, you don't know that that's happened, unfortunately.
You know, I'm good chill here then. that's me.
Well, I mean,
That's me.
would you have moved over there if you didn't know that there was something going on over there?
Well, I've just been dying out of the fog. I mean,
But you stopped for a turn or two doing nothing in one spot to just suddenly head over there. It's up to you. It's up to you. I mean, it's up to you. I'm just trying to be fair. You got to realize that if something,
it's
an enemy
fine,
won't
it'll-
do the same thing to you, so
Yeah,
you can't do it.
Dude, we'll play it your way. It's fine. Don't care.
Cool. Yeah, it just doesn't.
I'm
You
good
don't
with
know
it.
it's happening. It is, however, the blues turns. Yeah, it is, however, the blues turns. They're going to make 2 attacks against Trundle at disadvantage because they're in the fog with him, and he is a target. So
Fog man.
there's an 8. Yeah. The other one. That was a normal roll. So roll again. It doesn't hit. Okay, so both of them swing again, just unable to impact Trundle. Zadie, you're up.
Cool. I'm going to take a step forward
Mhm.
and smash the blue guy with a mace.
Cool. Go ahead and make an attack with advantage. 21 will hit.
Yikes.
Add your
and you have
four.
a
My
D4.
Add your 4.
I'm doing it. I need the time.
Yeah, you can use the thing on the left hand side
I'm just
to.
going-
I find that
Uh,
slower.
Yeah. You can use the. You can use the. Oh, is it slower on the left hand side? The dice roller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it may well be.
With how fast
So-
my browser is handling
Yeah.
all of this, I'm like,
Well, you smack into it, dealing the 7 damage as your heavier mace slams into its head, sort of cranes up towards you, but it doesn't know where you are. It just kind of sees the
Cool.
brief bit of you that's in the fog.
Cool. And then I'm going to take a step back because apparently it's done, and I feel like I would have noticed that at that point.
Yeah, it cannot see you as you move, so it cannot make an AO. Trundle, you're up.
nice. I will attack again with the rapier to the left blue target.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack with disadvantage.
And disadvantage. Let's go. Boom.
16 will
Hey.
hit. You don't have a blood right active, so as you
No, I don't.
slash across, it does catch it again, spilling more blood. You hear this creature sort of screech out. I'd like you also again to make another con save, please, for the
Sweet.
not for the damage because you haven't taken any, but from the smell.
My cons
Oh,
are.
that
not
was
doing
at disadvantage, but
was-
your
oh,
con
so-
saves have been miserable. It would have been a
It's still
12.
a 9.
No, it would have been a 12. So
Oh, 12.
you would have succeeded.
Nice.
So essentially kind of pulls yourself out, and you do hit with your attack.
Wow.
It's still standing though, as far as you can tell. Anything else?
I just continue to scream wildly at it.
Sure. Arena is going to do much the same. She sees Rick to move over. She's going to move her way over as well. But just again taking the dodge action. Rhea, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to, since he's standing right there, I'm going to do a booming blade attack on this.
This
thing.
one's just a flat roll.
Yes. Nice.
Woo.
Probably
Exciting.
still missed, but oh well.
16 will hit. It just does do the 8 damage for now, but it is marked with the static
Yep.
as the blade sort of catches it. Again, the light field kind of ripples around its feet. I'll do that because that's quite clearly a boom or a thundery thing. As the blade catches across,
Sorry.
it does indeed impact it.
Bless
Anything
Yep.
else?
And then I'm
Oh, I need you to make. In fact, I need you to make another con save, please.
I'm
Beforehand.
still not breathing.
Okay. All right. All right.
I just stopped breathing.
Yep, that's
Like,
fair. That's fair. You pulled
oh,
yourself
I
out.
remembered, I don't need to do that. I don't
Yeah.
need to be breathing this shit in.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yep. And I'm going to use
Black-
my. Sorry. What?
any creature that starts its turn within 5 feet. I'll allow it because of the nature of your being able to not breathe, but it is just an overpowering sense. There are certain things that will do that even if you don't need to breathe. But I'll say because it's a good use of your skills and your character, I'll allow it.
Okay. Right.
Cool.
All right. Fine. Then I will use my cunning action and disengage and move. Just my full movement straight back into the fog cloud.
Cool.
Just.
You probably crash into Zadie around there.
Yes, I will crash into Zadie as I do.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, girl.
Yeah, as you sort of this kind of this metallic leg kind of rises to meet you very quickly. You're able to stop yourself
Just like.
as the snarl sort of it looks like it kind of reaches after you, but unable to impact you at all. That's your turn.
Yes.
Cool, Guzza, you're up.
Save.
Cool, you can still hear the one there at disadvantage.
Missed.
10 will not hit, unfortunately. Yeah, this thing snarling in the darkness or in the fogginess. It just makes it a very hard target as it kind of moves around. You hear the snarling coming from Trundle as well. It kind of makes it kind of difficult to distinguish at first where the enemy exactly is. But you are sure which one you're swinging at. Just doesn't hit. It's now around to Red's turn. Red, seeing Rhea move off, as Richter has moved himself round into visible range, is going to head for the meaty target. Because he will take his 2 damage as he moves, as it like pops and bursts. But just looking around again in this wild view, you've moved yourself there. It is going to,
Go ahead.
move and attack you.
Oh, no, sorry, but miss.
As a 15 to hit.
I'm gonna drop concentration and cast shield.
You do not need to drop concentration for shield. It's just a thing that lasts for a round. But as you burst your reaction out, the claw comes out and the shield just forms between you, crashing against the barrier. Again, sort of leaving these streaks down it from these nasty claws. Its eyes burn into you, but doesn't deal any damage as the shield successfully defends you against the attack. Raising your AC, I believe, to 17, right? Yep.
17 till my next turn.
All right, perfect. Unfortunately, it's now your next turn. So the shield lasts for all of a couple of a fraction of a second, but it did its job. I do need you to make a Constitution save, please, as its stench kind of ripples out to you. That's a success. So kind of again. Oh no, in fact, you'd already succeeded against it, I believe. So yeah, you wouldn't need to make it.
Twice.
Yep.
Twice as hard.
Exactly. You're hardy as fuck. However, it's up in your face. What would you like to do?
Well, yeah. I'm gonna disengage as you do, and I'm gonna saunter off over here.
Okay. You just move yourself where its eyes track you, locking onto Arena as she stands there, and you see it its tongue lick out. Again, as its meals keep running away from it, which it doesn't like too much. Yeah. Okay. That's your turn. It is now Blue's turns. They're just slamming at the thing that they can sense near them. It's pretty miserable for everyone involved. That's an 8 to hit. That's a 9 to hit. Neither hit. That's their turns. Zadie, you're up.
How long does fog last?
Up to an hour.
Quite a while, but
Forever. It's here forever now.
Yep. You're welcome. I dread to think how many of these would have hit.
Hold on. There you go.
That is enough to bring it down as your mace sort of
Yes.
pulsates. This huge mace just comes and implants it somewhat in the ground, smashing it down and causing it to sort of crunch and fall. It is dead. It is dead. You look around. You see one off in the distance. You see another next to Trundle. Sort of as Trundle's slashing away at the one that you've just mashed into the ground.
Okay, I will tell Trundle I killed it.
Cool. Yeah. Sure. Okay, so it sounds down. Perfect. That's your turn.
Trundle gracefully snarls in a thank you.
Yeah. It is your turn now, Trundle. As this sort of nice, friendly voice echoes out from within the fog. You kind of like acknowledge what it's saying. But what would you like to do? You still feel this thing
what I do best.
swinging away at you from behind.
I will attempt to attack now the lower right blue.
Go ahead and make an attack with disadvantage.
There it is.
An 11 will not hit. As you swing out at it, it.
I don't know if I want to spend any inspiration now. I might want to keep the. Although, is this the last? There's one. You know what? Go on then. Let's close this out.
Yeah, but you don't know. There's a fog around you. There's still the sound of snarling and clashing. You know that one there is dead. Zadie has been calling them out as such, but there's still snarling elsewhere. You just can't pinpoint it at all because there's just fog all around. That'll definitely hit as you slash across for 9 damage. As you catch its body, it kind of twists again, but it seems to be snarling ever more hungrily in your direction. It is Arena now. Arena seeing this thing is going to sort of like move back as well. She's going to stand next to you, Richter, and she's going to take the dodge action again. As she sort of has her shield in one. She doesn't actually have a shield. Apologies. She just sort of stands there with her rapier drawn, ready to sort of stand, not quite in the way, but she sort of stands there slightly in front of you, but still very wary of the danger of this being thrashing around. Rhea, you're up. You hear this sort of snarling shift off to the other side. You hear Richter's sort of spell go off. You can't see what's going on. You still hear this being like sort of coming from the westish.
Okay, right.
But that's all.
I'll move out this way, sort of to maybe there in the general direction where I thought it was between when I heard the sounds going.
Mm-hmm.
Look around, see that it's up there, and use the rest of my movement to head.
You can reach it just about.
Yep, and then
it does hear you and spins towards you. Go ahead, make your attacks.
Yeah, and then do another booming blade on it.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Why did it take so long?
I don't know, but a 16 will hit as you slash across its form. It kind of like glares at you effectively, but the wreath wraps around it. Now emboldened almost by the previous wreath that was on it. The lightning, the thunder sort of again encases it more heavily, sort of almost binding its arms and legs slightly. That's your action, your movement. You still have a bonus action, but you have no more movement.
No more movement. Right. In that case, I'll use my bonus action to dash away and back into the fog.
Okay.
And I know that gives it an attack of opportunity.
It does.
Yeah.
It will swing at you.
You sentinel from half the map away.
I don't think you can see it either.
A normal attack.
That also make a difference.
Its claws swing out at you. That's a 24. That will hit.
Yes.
I need you to make a concentration check first. So the first roll will be the concentration check. The second roll will be the saving throw for the paralyzation. As its claw just catches you in the back of the neck as you move away, holding your breath again from the effect.
Concentration.
Okay, the fog cloud remains.
And
Hooray!
And
Hooray!
you maintain your composure as it sort of as it staggers you, but you're able to make your way 5, 10 back there, 15. Sure, you have more movement.
well, I'm just going to run like as far as I can before I actually hit something. So I imagine
you run into Guzzer again. You
Guzzer
sort of
this time.
almost tangle your feet on the rope slightly, but being dexterous and being the fact that no one else is holding it on the other end, you're able to go over without any sort of issue of possibly tripping over it. That's your turn. Guzzer, you're up. This thing, you hear this loud crunch, and before Zadie just sort of sparks out, it's dead now. And you can hear snarling sort of to the east, sort of to the west. Its again, there's still it's roughly clear where they are, but not you can't see anything. So it's
I mean, I'll
visually
move
very
to the
difficult.
east.
Okay, yeah, it's not long before you bump into the one remaining thing there.
And then I will scythe.
That you will. Go ahead and make your attack with disadvantage.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, it just the disorientation you've had for being in this fog for, about half a minute now at least, is really kind of throwing you off. And although you stagger into it, you hesitate a little bit because you're not sure if it's Trundle. And effectively, for the sake of the miss, don't make the attack, as you're kind of worried before you kind of hear his more agitated growling and snarling to your north.
I think it's the wolf that scares me as well in him. I'm like, I can't remember about him.
The wolf among us.
Okay.
You hypocrite.
It is now the one remaining red one's turn. This is toughy. I mean, it was interested in this over here, but I'm gonna make a roll here. Again, it's gonna be like one will be upper, 2 will be into the fog, because it's probably attracted more to the tasty morsels out in the visibility. So it is gonna make its way over here. And
Then attack. Ooh.
it's going to attack Richter. The dice dictate. I mean, he is the least armored, the most fleshy that it
For
can
the
see.
first time in a long time, I've finally been targeted.
And that is a 14 to hit.
And he's casting shield again.
Sure, as it swings out, it kind of again pops off your shield. There's a sort of a
Shield.
sense of frustration coming from it, but as you see, it's just hungering eyes. It's been more and more damaged. The thunder does go off as well. It takes the damage from that too, which is 5. And you see it kind of staggering almost from the impact. It's still standing, but it looks very rough. Richter, it is now your turn again.
I'm
What
gonna
do
stay
you
with my scalpel.
Sure.
There we go.
A 15 will hit. Amazingly. Of course, you're proficient with daggers, right?
I am proficient with a variety of simple weapons.
Yeah, there's like a handful of simple weapons you get.
Nice.
And
Please tell me that does it.
it doesn't do it, unfortunately.
Ah.
Damn it! I would love to have it just die.
It remains on 1 hit point as you stab into it. Probably giving Zadie or Arena a very easy kill here. However, as the blade runs in, you see it kind of like gasp for a moment, almost stagger back before it continues towards you. However, that is your turn, unless you'd like to do something else.
I have a precision surgeon.
No, that's me. I'm gonna leave my precision at that.
Okay. Then in that case, it
Not
is
medicine.
it is the remaining ghoul's turn. This one has had it's fucking hungry, man. You guys have just given it nothing to eat. It's gonna go for Gaza at disadvantage. I imagine it's probably not gonna go too well for it, but you never know. A 13 doesn't hit. It just clashes across some more metal. Bring this home, Zadie. You're up. What would you like to do? You see this one haranguing.
I actually can't get round to that other ghoul, so I'm gonna have to go for this red guy.
You should be able to move, no problem. You can. I mean, from where you were, 5,
Dude,
10,
I'm so big.
15, and you'd be next to it there if that's what you're looking to do. I mean, it's
Okay,
up
then
to
I'll
you
do
what
that.
you'd like to do. So,
I would like to do that. Do I still get advantage on it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't see you. It's in fog. It doesn't
Oh no, that was so bad.
it doesn't have the concept of you being able to see through the fog.
That's a thing.
13 is good enough though. And
good. In that case, that one.
8 damage plus the D4, which I mean isn't needed. It had 5 hit points left. You
Yay.
woof, again for the second time today. Kind of hammer these in like tent pegs. You just slam it into the ground. Its legs buckle slightly, and from all the impacts it taken before, from Trundle, from others, it kind of staggers and just falls to one side. Its head partly caved in. This rotting sort of like greyish green fetid matter just pouring out, and it slumps to the ground. Sorry, I skipped your turn. Sorry, I ended your turn, but you still have 15 feet of movement.
I'm just gonna be like, I can see why Pelor did this now. This is like.
Fish in a barrel, essentially.
Yeah,
Such a thing.
somehow justifying you losing your eyes and the ability. Yeah, sure. Oh, I love it. I love it. Trundle, you're up. There's the sound of like squelch from one side. You swing around, slash about. You impact something else, and you hear a sound of like poof, 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 move past you before. This sound of again, just like a watermelon being crushed. What would you like to do? You can still hear this faint kind of coming from the north, and you kind of still hear the death throes of these two beings lying on the ground around you.
I mean, it takes an action to do sort of like a perception check, right?
Yeah, it generally does,
Yeah.
especially because you're blinded. It's not like you can just whip around quickly.
Yeah.
I'll say because of don't you have a feature that lets you track certain creatures? And you're currently tracking undead.
I can track undead, but I don't know if it actually functions the same way.
Just go ahead and click the
undead
feature
works.
if you can. I just want to have a look at it. That's all.
I'll click it right now, but I'm pretty sure all that it does is make me unable to be surprised by them. I don't think it's anything
survival
else to do with that.
checks to track them information. I'll say again, just for
But
the.
it would be more that I wanted to use my hearing or my smell to.
Sure.
locate.
Well, what I would say is, I'll say you'll use a bonus action. Just go ahead and make a perception check. It'll just be a flat check because of the kind of advantage disadvantage counter out. You can't see, but you can smell. So
That is a disadvantage.
That's all right.
It's still a 4.
It is.
It's less.
It's an 8. You can hear the snarling, but you're not quite sure which direction it's exactly in. There's still the sounds of people running about and whatnot. With no visual, you kind of put your nose to the air. The stench of this recently dead ghast next to you kind of throws you off a bit, and it means you're unable to sort of really target it.
Now, because I only just came back, my dad quickly came in.
That's all right.
Did Sadie say anything as she killed the target?
Yeah, I said it's dead, and also
great.
just went on about how great Pelor was for a bit.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Then.
no locational.
Gave a small
great.
sermon.
That's good. I was just trying to make sure that I didn't have to fucking attack one of you guys. So, I know that they're both dead, and I have no idea where the fuck anything else is because of great perception checks. So I'm just going to wander out into the middle and just kind of blindly swing and be pretty upset and scared.
Sure, yeah. You move out. You can kind of hear the sound of like footsteps splashing in the now moist mud, like watery mud, near where Rhea is. Again, you're not sure it's Rhea, but you can tell that it's not like this kind of snarling undead thing. Unfortunately, yeah, that's going to be a turn. Just make it to there.
Yeah, I just move, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Arena's going to try and go for the second
Come
kill
on,
steal, and with her rapier,
Yay!
she fucking does it. Okay, she just runs the blade through, and with this kind of frustration, as the thing bites out at you, Richter, it clashes off the shield, throwing it open, and that's enough. As you stab into it, it's kind of like a Caesar Brutus-esque scene, as there's this being that's kind of thrown back. And the both of you just kind of go in with these thin blades, just stab a couple of times as it staggers back. Actually, she would have had to make a check. Why would I click that? Why wouldn't I just click the check? She's fine. Okay, cool. She just kind of wraps the scarf that she has over her face after encountering it for the first time and swings across, cutting it down. And after a combat that I really didn't expect to take that long, that's all right. I think it worked out in your favor because they didn't get to hit at all. That's often the case with you guys, but that's totally fine. It's not a bad thing, you know.
I'm sorry. What?
No,
Yeah.
You guys have.
died twice. Trundle's died once.
You haven't.
I died.
You haven't. No. You're the only person who's died. Everyone else has.
They've been unconscious multiple
Sure.
times.
I'm referring to the fact that you guys have a pretty high ACs. That's all. Which is fine.
a lot of
It's
healing.
a good feature of your characters.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 16 as well. It's pretty decent.
I think we can Richter.
Oh yeah, Richter, but he's using shield to good effect. So.
Okay, I will yell out that everything's dead.
Sure, you will sort of like, again, there's this kind of brief little bit moment before Zadie speaks out that you're not quite sure if anything else is about. You hear the sounds of splashing, you hear the sounds of, again, these things dying. As they, being undead, they kind of take a little bit longer to fully decease. But it is clear after Zadie calls out that nothing else is haranguing you. You just hear, you're sure you hear this, just almost this faint. Just this faint 3 claps, slow, it's just thrown around you, unclear as to where it's come from. No voice, nothing else, but you just hear these 3 claps. That's it.
In this realm, he started that. He invented this.
He's had years to perfect it.
You sure everything's dead?
Looking
I'm not
around, you
letting
see
go of
nothing.
this fog.
just
I'm
gonna
not letting go of this fog
wipe
until
down my
I'm sure.
scalpel. Disgusting.
Y'all okay up here?
after a quick breather, Irina again just sort of turns to you and says, like looking up at you with your bandaged visage. She sort of looks across to you and just says, "Where is he? Ismark! Ismark!" She starts calling out and starts making her way, sort of like
we should go find him.
moving around the fog.
Hang on. Is he here? And I'll drop the fog.
He ain't here. He went that away, and I'll point that away.
Yeah, you just point off to the east where you saw him. Sort of, at least you saw like Strahd start moving with his horse, and Ismark, him and the horse all just disappeared. Yeah, you're not sure, but Irina just as she looks around, seeing these dead bodies, seeing all of you there, you all see again Trundle in his hybrid form once more, looking tired in a way, but having been healed up, he's not looking too bad.
He's still in his hybrid form.
Yeah. Yes, he is. He shifted back. You saw him drop and then come back in again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna snap my fingers and everyone's gonna return to normal size.
Sure.
I was having so much fun.
It doesn't last that long, so combat's over. Down you go.
I'm going to very deliberately step between Trundle and Guzzet and just give him a sort of look.
Mm-hmm. Trundle's slightly hyperventilating, but is otherwise sort of like at least he's not frenzying out at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go around to each corpse and do a quick like, off you go to heaven now.
Just off you go to heaven. Go on then.
Yeah.
These things try to eat us. You don't go blessing the things that eat us.
Is there any differences between the corpses? Like, are they different in some way or another?
What do you mean per se?
Well, I'm gonna rip some blood from them. If they're all the same, I'm only gonna do one.
Then they're quite clearly not all the same. Go ahead and make a. It'll be a history check religion check.
I think the one next to me is holding a +1 magic scalpel.
Oh,
Nice.
Weirdly enough, it doesn't surprise me that Richter knows about this shit. Yeah, these are ghasts and ghouls. Ghasts are effectively ghouls that have had time to almost gestate, mature in a way. They have this kind of noxious odor that pervades them, that they kind of emanate out from their form. Ghouls they're both quite dangerous. They can paralyze. Their fingers have this kind of almost this almost instant necrosis that when they impact someone and sort of get into their bloodstream, it's almost like being petrified for a short period of time. It locks up their limbs and their bones and their muscles, so they'll freeze in place. Thankfully, you were able to protect yourself against this thing as it sort of smellily ran at you. But
I'm ripping the glass blood.
smellily.
So you're ripping the.
I'm ripping out the gas blood.
Okay.
I already had ghoul blood before, and I wasted it on an altar, which didn't do anything. So I don't give a shit about that anymore. I want the gas blood.
Sure. Go ahead and just make a full botany kit check, which is medicine.
It is medicine, eh?
Medicine.
Does it get a proficiency bonus?
You do because you have that's the kit that you're proficient.
It would get
Plus
+2
2.
to it. We haven't added it to the list.
Yeah, you can add it. It's quite easy. You just add it into the list.
I'm using the hero point just to bump that up a little more because I want a good check. So whatever.
Sure.
There you go.
15,
so that is
17.
that is 17.
Sure. 17 is pretty reasonable. As you draw the blood, where are you taking it from, out of curiosity?
Well, I don't know what the corpse looks like, so
It's human anatomy effectively. It's wearing like a pair of I don't know, Hulk-like pants, but they're dirty and soiled.
what's his head looking like?
It's a bit bashed in, but not heavily. Zadie
Zadie
didn't heavy mace this one, I don't
Okay,
believe.
I want to draw it from the brain.
Okay, sure. It draws out. It's a dark kind of purplish color.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Get a bit
dark
of,
purplish.
some
There's
maggots in
some sort of clear liquid that comes in with it. Sort of the fluids around the brain, even in a decayed state, are
Add
there.
that to the list.
But yeah, just go ahead and say you've just got gas blood. Again, you'd be able to, because it's a full physical thing, you'd be able to extract as many vials as you like.
I'm only keeping one at a time.
Sure. So you get one vial of gas blood.
Gas blood.
It again, hanging around it, even having succeeded on the check, it's a pretty horrible experience. It does. You end up with your eyes. It's much like cutting onions.
Yeah.
As much as you try and avoid it, it's almost inevitable. Your eyes are streaming. You get that
perfect.
kind of that almost petrol burning smell sense at the back of your sort of nasal cavities. But you're able to extract the blood without any real issue. You have to
After
fight
I've
through it.
drained it, I'm gonna give the head a quick stomp.
Sure. It's still a physical head.
I'm just gonna boot that. I know. I'm just gonna boot the head. I'm just gonna boot it.
You're stomping on it. Actually, it doesn't crack. It doesn't crush. There's a bit of like an impact as it hits the ground. It leaves your heel feeling like a little bit sore, as you're not particularly strong. So you're.
No, it irritated me, so I want to just.
Yeah, its head squelches down in the very slightly softened mud from all the fog in the area. And as you look around, as you're extracting this, as you're all doing stuff, the kind of the receding fog around you, not just the fog cloud, kind of recedes a little bit. It clears up a little bit. The trees still cling onto it in the distance, but it's loose. It's limp almost. The fog that lingers, and the path clears up again. However, you look around. I'm sure a lot of you might want to be doing stuff, but you see as Arena's kind of fall into her knees and she's just crying with her head in her hands, just sobbing. Her rapier's been sort of thrown to one side. As she just looks around, she just stares up at you, Zadie, but without sort of saying anything. She's just crying.
I'm gonna turn to Trundle and just say, I don't know what the fuck is going on with you, but do you understand me when you look like that?
Yes.
I'm gonna head on over to him as well.
You're probably busy extracting the blood. At this point.
Afterwards, I mean.
Are you
Sure,
okay?
yeah, well, I mean, it takes a little bit of time.
In this time, I will likely be, slow. So it takes about an action, so 6 seconds or whatever, to just turn out of being a nutcase werewolf thing. So in that time, that'll be what I'm doing as everyone is doing all their shit. And yeah, my answer is just yes. I can hear you.
Okay.
But I fear I cannot control it. And we're in mud, right?
I mean, it's like a well-built pathway, but at least the area where the fog cloud is has just been softened up ever so slightly.
I mean, I'll give a weak punch at the ground.
Sure.
And then just sort of brush the water and just try and see my own face in it. Is it like?
I mean, you can see a very kind of looming figure. There's not a decent amount of light coming through from the sun. It's always, it's ever overcast, but you're able enough to see like a figure. You can see the kind of the slightly extended jaw almost shift slowly back, sort of clacking back into place in your normal human form. The hair, you can see at least tufts of shadows of fur just pull back in underneath your clothing. As you can. The only thing you distinctively see are your eyes. Your eyes reflecting the light, catching them. Just your eyes flicker from almost like a golden yellow. Just flicker back. And again, with a slight size shift, your face getting slightly smaller and flatter. You notice the eyes just shift back to their normal colour.
Yeah, awesome. That's pretty much exactly what I'll be doing. I'll just be trying to catch myself in a reflection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it takes a little bit of time, but you shift back. You're able to take a few deep breaths. I mean, it's up to you, I suppose. Do you recall what just occurred?
This time I do, yeah. Yeah, this time I do.
Okay. Guzza, Rhea. Are you got Rhea standing in the way, Guzza? Are you doing anything?
Yeah, I think initially trying to like push myself through, but if she's got a playing guard, and then once he turns back, I'm like, just take a breath.
Yeah,
and just
if you try and push through, I'm going to sort of turn around and just pull a horrible face at you. A kind of meaningful, like, horrible face at you. Just like...
A reminiscent horrible face.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I mean, if you are physically really trying to push through, you can go ahead and make a strength check. Because it's sort of all happening at the same time.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah,
You probably will, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there is that. That's the thing. It's a tough one, but because you are physically stronger, you would be able to move Rhea out the way, probably. But we'll role play it out as it's gone. And as you hold your scythe there, just in hand, you feel the divine favor slowly sort of fading. And you see Trundle around the same time as it fades. You see Trundle kind of shifting back, able to speak. Previously more bestial, still looking bestial before he kind of shifts and falls back into his rather, normal comparatively self. You feel the divine favor slip away as well, but you resist the urge to take anything further, and you're able to sort of step away. Zadie, what are you up to? So you've moved your token. That's all.
I'm just gonna be like, look, I'm sure we'll be able to find him. I think I'm not super smart, so I probably would not have worked out a plan.
Again, through her tears, she kind of like she shakes her head like, but lets you continue speaking. She's kind of just shaking her head, sobbing.
He wanted you to be okay, and we've got you okay, so we'll stick with that, and we'll do what he wanted. Okay? If you go off running into the forest and get yourself killed by the first branch you fall over, that's a waste on his side.
Yeah, she like again swallowing her words, trying to get her composure back. Pulls herself to her feet again, dries her eyes slightly, and just says, "He's gone. When the devil comes and takes you away, no one sees you again. No one." But she looks at you like stone cold again, eyes reddened, blade sort of lying to one side. She brings herself up and grabs her blade and almost instinctively pulls a rag from her thing and just cleans the blade from this kind of this horrible ichor before just looking at the rag and just throwing it down to the ground before stowing it away. I think you speak truth. If we... And you see her like really struggling to get the words out. If we go after him, we will not be seen again as either. But he didn't tell me all of his plan. He was just to get to Vallaki, and then we would go speak to the priest at the church there and see what he knows and find out the next course of action. See if we would be safer up in Vallaki, or down in Vallaki, excuse me.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a great plan.
And you see her kind of shaking her head slightly. We shouldn't linger here. He could be watching. He probably is watching, even now. And you see her kind of still having regained her composure a bit, just checking the tree lines. But again, she's
no way you do something like that.
What's that, sorry?
No.
yeah. You look out, you can see some trees, and that just cuts off. It's like a, but. Yeah, she sort of gets to her feet and places her hand on your shoulder and says, "Thank you. You're a good person, Sadie." And again, she's looking at you. You can kind of sense she's looking at you again with the cover. She's kind of looking at you with slight unease. She just says, "After what you've been through, losing your vision like this, you maintain such strong faith, even in the darkest times."
Well, I mean, it ain't dark as long as you got Pelor on your side. That's the whole thing with him.
She's like, whilst composing herself, she chuckles slightly in this kind of like this almost again bringing her back to tears slightly, but not. She holds her composure. She's stalwart enough to sort of maintain herself and recompose herself. I wish I could have faith like you. But Ismark is gone. We will find him again, but... And she shakes her head. It's not worth thinking about now. And you see her kind of look over in that direction. And although it's a little bit away, you can still see the frame in the distance of the gates that you came through to get here. And she just kind of looks there and just sort of like she almost grimaces, spits on the ground, and just turns back. We should get moving. Is everyone okay? She looks across at me.
Okay.
The chaos.
Is everyone else?
As I'm gathering up the rope.
She steps forward and with slight frustration, not like anger per se, but she just says, she looks at you and just says, "Is everyone else still here?" And she kind of just looks around, seeing Trundle on the ground, whatnot, sort of like recomposing himself.
I think so. I'm sorry about your brother.
It's not your fault.
Just need to give me a thumbs up over her shoulder.
Yeah. She's gonna pat her on the back.
I'm just like,
Yeah, she doesn't sense the. Oh my god. She doesn't sense the. She doesn't sense the from behind. But you give it nonetheless, and she sort of just nods and says, He would have laid his life down for this. I don't know why he's so... so set in his ways, but
That thing. That's the thing he does. This Strahd fellow. He makes you do things you don't want to do. I mean, he made your brother turn on us.
she just looks at you again, sort of nodding, and says, he has ways to control your mind, to probe in and make you act in ways you would otherwise not. And again, she sort of reluctantly reaches to her neck and pulls down the cloth and showing the 2 pipes. She says, there's a part of me that knows that although I would never accept this, there was a moment where he made me almost enjoy this. And you see her kind of looking downtrodden and angry. There's like almost a venom in her eyes. He pushes people to do things that they don't want to do. I just remember him staring at me, his burning eyes. It's the only thing I see before his mouth snatched open, and then I remember being in my bed awaking as normal, but I don't know why he didn't take me now. He's just trying to torture me. And she pauses for a moment, and she sort of almost recalling the facts. She says, he did call me Tatiana once. I don't understand why, but I don't know. He looks at me, idolizes me. He treats me, and she pulls the neck thing back up. She treats me as his plaything, but he is, I believe, still bound by the rules of vampires. He cannot, as crazy as it sounds, he cannot, I believe, enter into a home without express permission from its owners. He cannot, but that is not to say that he will not charm his way indoors. And she sort of like, again,
As he did with you, yeah.
And you see her just kind of nod without saying anything. And she sheathes her blade. In fact, she's really sheathed her blade, but you see her almost toying with it.
So,
And
I'm gonna take a step towards her and say, listen, I'm probably one of the people you least respect in this group. I'm not going to lie to myself and think otherwise. But I know people like this Strahd. I do not like them. They're assholes. And he seems like the uber asshole.
she looks up at you and just says, you don't know anything about him.
I get a feel of this kind of person. I know one in particular lived under his thumb most of my life. May not have been the undead blood-sucking batty type, but was the kind who thought he could tell you to do whatever he wanted and did not give a shit about what you wanted. And for that, I would do whatever I can to keep you away from him.
She just, again, she almost stifles a smile for a brief moment, but again, she's still sort of reeling at this point. But you see her just kind of nod and say thank you. On that note, we should move. I don't much like staying here. These things, and she kind of kicks at the nearest cast. They're horrible, but they are nothing compared to some of the other things that can go bump in the night in this place, this valley. Let us move. And she sort of she gestures. If we're all ready, she kind of looks at you, Trundle, as the person who's obviously been damaged and is kind of recovering.
Mentally damaged.
Aren't we all?
but she looks over towards you as she makes her way over. She says, "Is everything all right? I saw what he did to you.
It's fine.
He was toying with you, but you're still here with us at least."
What did he do to him? Because I did not. I was in the fog cloud when the crit happened.
she sort of looks. Oh wait, maybe she was. But for ease of purpose, I think she was at least visible. Maybe not, but fuck it. Fuck it. She just looks at you, Trundle, expectantly to say what you felt.
He felled me. He is strong. using my rapier to sort of haul myself up, but not strong enough. And I'll kind of look straight back at them and stand to my feet.
You got a lot of fight in you, and I'll give him a little punch on the arm.
I'll fake it hurting.
It actually punches into a place where you've been, impacted.
Where he literally cut me down.
Well, no, he smacked you in the center of the chest, but one of the
all over again to take a point of
the ghast did swipe at you and catch you.
Yep.
So she sort of looks across and says, "If you're all ready, let's keep going. We want to make Vallaki before nightfall, and it isn't too far. But if we're waylaid by this again, then I don't know what to think."
See, go.
As we move out, as we're all just walking, I'll probably just go near Zadie and touch her on the shoulder and say, "Thank you kindly.
Oh,
I'd
sure
probably
thing.
not still be here if it was not for your aid."
Anytime. That's what I'm here for.
And then I'll just drop back. Not a man of many words, but
after a few minutes of heading away, Arena sort of looks at you all. No, sorry. Arena seems to be looking to sort of lead the group in her brother's abstinence. In her brother's abstinence. She seems to be leading the group, and I'll
Taking a vow.
It's taking a vow, exactly. There's lots of people.
so
have
it's
here.
going to be that kind of game, is it?
Oh yeah. But you journey on for another hour or so through this winding path that sort of rises up even more before reaching a point where you hit a crossroads about an hour or so later, if that. As you move on, the mists are lingering, but they're lingering kind of higher up in these hills. And you reach this crossroads. Now, this crossroads effectively, bear with me, kind of switches from being this winding path to this trail that kind of almost hugs this edge, this mountainside edge almost. It's not a huge drop per se. It's more hills than mountains, but this is an area of higher elevation. God, I'm really spoonerizing my words today. And it's not long before you reach this crossroads where it descends, winding down next to this tree line, as you actually get a fairly a great view over the valley to this small this village, effectively this town, much larger than Barovia you've just come from, but still relatively small scale, maybe a mile across. Beyond it, this lake that runs sort of beyond into the fog, as you sort of look out, and again the winding path leads sort of away, but you can actually see where it rejoins, or at least it rejoins your visual range as the tree line sort of, it's quite a wide road effectively, and you can see where this road winds along, but as you hit this point, there's a crossroads effectively, and this branch off to the side to the west, sort of effectively in front of where the town is in the distance, about a quarter mile away. You can see this rather dilapidated looking stone windmill standing. It's hard to say exactly how tall, but standing there, and you can see it even from this distance. The large wooden struts making up its wind vanes are there's bits of cloth hanging loosely off some of them, the other one's stripped bare, and it's off in the distance, as you hit this fork in the road. That's all you can see from here, though. It's a good, like I said, quarter mile away, but Arena just sort of just keeps moving beyond it as if not even acknowledging it. For everyone else but Trundle, the visual is familiar to some extent. If you recall, in the house, the house of of death, the death house, there was a lot of windmill insignia, shall we say, adorning sword pommels, adorning shields, adorning even crests of arms on paintings. This windmill it's the same shape. It's impossible to sort of give it an exact comparison, as this is very heavily weathered. The one depicted in all the paintings pristine and untouched, But at least the onion-shaped dome at the top rings a bell for all of you. It looks familiar. However, she just continues moving beyond the fog. There's no signposts or anything like that. She just keeps going.
Can I say, hey, do you know what that is over there?
She looks and just says,
Oh, can I see it? It might be too far away.
You can see it. It's oh no, you can't see it actually. But
Nope.
No, yeah, yeah, good point. So these are things I always forget. And as time goes on as well, Richter, your vision is still kind of blurred, but it is slowly kind of coming back. You get the idea that at the end of a long rest, it will fully recover.
Okay.
Mechanics, but right now it is still blurring your vision, and yeah, so you can still see off in the distance this shape, but that's about all you can make out. Everyone else, you see a windmill. Anyone else, or just continue on? Perfect.
As the highest intelligence relatively of the party,
Yep.
I will pipe and say, "Oh, that looks like the windmill in the death house."
I love how you address it
just
as the
very,
death house.
just very, very bluntly.
Yeah. I mean, Irina doesn't really know how to react to that, but she just kind of, she seems to be focused, trying to keep her mind on just onwards, and doesn't pay too much attention to what you've said, but just keeps moving onwards. Yeah.
Other than that, though, I'm not going to comment on it.
Sure.
If it's got something to do with the death house, I'm straight on.
That's fair. And you continue moving on past this fork in the road. Again, the actual wind vanes, they stand still. They do not turn. As any sort of thing that would catch the wind is just long ripped and torn away from it. You make your way down the pathway, and over the course of the next hour or so, as you pull through the woods, there's that sense of almost, you feel like the fog is going to pull back in on you some more. You can see it just lingering in the woods, like permanently, just grasping at the roots of the trees. Just this thin layer ready to almost spring up at any time. But that time doesn't come, and as you journey along through the woods, you hit a point where the trees open up and you can see, again, a good quarter mile or so away, and you can almost hear the sound of very faint, it's not quite like the sea, but you can hear the very faint sound of water just rippling, and you can see off in the distance this endless blue as the path does, or the ground does slope down towards this large lake, and as you journey further on, you get this brief visual of it before winding through the woods for another mile and a half, 2 miles, and it's not long. It is not long before you reach the edge of Vallaki. Now, if you bear with me, I think we will take our break here, as you reach the edge of Vallaki and start to sort of look out. But I will give you at least a brief description to taste before we take our break. So as this road winds round and sort of meanders into this central location, or I say central location within the valley, the lower ends of the valley, you see these sort of lingering mountains over to the north. Even though there's fog kind of obscuring the air, you can still see, much larger than the kind of hills that you've wound down through, these large mountains jutting up to the north, and a tree line blocking any view to the south. They do, however, sort of recede and open up, almost like a mouth, practically, where you can see, again, a good half or so mile away, as the air is clear enough. You're able to see this wooden palisade surrounding a large metallic gate. From the south, this thick fog does actually almost press up against, reaching out from the woods, just hitting the wooden palisades, but reaching no further. You see also on the northeastern side, some more fog kind of presses up against it, but is just sort of almost deflected by the wall here. And at these sturdy iron gates that you see as you make your way up, you see a couple of figures behind them, shadowy guard-like figures. But one of the most important things that you notice is, jammed in the ground, on the either side of the path, on the way up from about 100 feet out towards where this gate is, flanking this road are about 8 pikes jammed in the ground with heads of wolves impaled on them. Just head there, mouths lolling open, tongue like hanging out, eyes sort of either missing or rolled back, clearly picked clean by crows. And these wolves just line the pathway. And as you make your way up to the gate, that's where we'll take our break. Cool. And obviously, for reference, although it'll only really kick in when you take your next long rest, the party does hit level 4. We've discussed this. I did need to let the party know because I don't like leveling mid-session without having it at least a little bit prepared. So the players are aware that they're hitting level 4 now. So congratulations, guys. I'd also like to give a hero point in the new level to Rhea for being quite non-meta, shall we say, in the fight. Pulling yourself away, darting it in and out, being honest, being fully transparent. Like, not that anyone else was not doing that, but just the sort of the full, putting yourself at a disadvantage by treating it as your character can see, not as you can see. Go ahead and take a hero point for that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm like sort of rewarding on display. But yeah, so you make your way up to the gate.
Sorry.
So everyone, you will level up. Thankfully, I don't believe any of it multi-classing, so everyone's going to take points and take the level in their current class, which brings you all to level 4. And I believe I will run down this quickly. I'm sure you've all had a quick look anyway. But before we take the break, which will run for about 10-15 minutes, I will just go through just to double check that there's nothing that any of you specifically gain that I haven't already considered. So, Cleric, I'm just going to go A to Z in here, and then I'll go to the Blood Hunter. Shan, you have an ability score increase, as expected. So you can either take 2 points in whatever stats you want, 1 on 1 or 2, or you can take a feat. So we're accepting feats, totally fine. You also gain a second level spell slot. And interesting, you also get a 4th cantrip. So yeah,
I don't have enough spells, so
no, you don't. Also, you'll be able to prepare 1 additional spell as you've leveled up. If you also gain some wisdom, you'll be able to prepare another additional spell again, because it is your wisdom mod plus your cleric level. So you may go from, I believe, 6 to 8 prepared spells, as well as the additional cantrip.
I'm good. I'm gonna put 1 in con and 1 in.
No, that's totally fine. You can do exactly what you want. And if you're ever in doubt and you're thinking about bumping 1 stat up to even but don't know where to put the other point, there are feats for things like I believe there's a feat which lets you put 1 in a stat and then you also become proficient in that stat saving throw. So for example, Constitution, the only way to get that is by doing that with a feat or being a barbarian. So if you're just looking to do con and you're not sure about what else,
for no reason, what feat is that?
I believe these
if it's annoying, don't worry about it.
Is it toughness? Or...
no, tough is double hit points.
Oh, okay.
Or two additional hit points per level. Now this one is called.
It's retroactive though. That's what makes it so good.
It is retroactive.
Yeah.
Same as increasing your constitution. It is called. No, not skilled. Where is it?
I do have to check
Resilient.
what order the things happen.
It's called resilient. So you gain chosen ability score by 1 to a maximum of 20, and you also gain proficiency in saving throws using the chosen ability. So again, it's one of the only ways to gain Constitution save bonuses, which can obviously be really good for concentrating on spells. However, you're passing up the bumping up of your main stat. So you also obviously gain hit points. So regardless of your con mod going up, you can, because you obviously retroactively increase Constitution and health. Your hit points will go up by 5 plus your con mod. So do that before you bump up any stats. You'll go up by, I believe, 6 or 7. I think it's 6. And then if your Constitution increases, it goes up by 1 per level you've gained. So if your con mod goes from +3 to +4, you will gain, because you're level 4, you'll gain 1 hit point per level. So you gain an additional 4 hit points. So that's the cleric, but you do so the cantrip and the additional spell slot. Then we've got no druids, no fighters.
Hold on. Sorry. So I get my extra 6, like if I hadn't touched my constitution.
Correct.
But then I retroactively get it for the past one.
Correct.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why constitution.
It's just changed, guys.
Welcome to the tech party.
Yep. So, no monk, we're on paladin. Gaza, you at 4th level get your ability score increase and your health and
Beep.
And yeah, or feet. So you go up to your hit points go up by 6 plus your con mod.
Done it already.
Perfect. So you've got that, but you don't gain any. You don't have cantrips.
Nope.
You don't gain any additional spell slots.
Nope.
But you gain a feat. So that's
We've got a
pretty
brand
sweet.
new feat.
Fantastic. That was much more simple. Because you also don't need to.
Nope.
In terms of pairing spells, you also
I think I get it.
you will increase the number of spells you can prepare by 1 because your paladin level has gone up to 4 and it's half your paladin level. So you do get that as well. If you're somehow bumping your charisma mod as well, obviously get an additional 1 per charisma mod. Ranger, we don't have Ranger. Rogue. So Rogue, your sneak attack is still 2d6. Your ability score goes up by whatever you want to increase it by, or a feat. Your hit points go up by 5 plus your con mod, and that's it. Simple as.
Well,
you also gain a spell slot and a spell known, but it has to be from
the enchantment or illusion.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah. There's only certain levels where you get to do evocation, I think it is, or just any wizard spell.
yeah.
So I think it's level
8,
14, and 20, and I think there's also possibly one when you first pick Arcane Trickster. I can't remember for sure, but you do get, like I said, the additional spell slot and the additional spell known. Sorcerer, perfect. Sorcerer, you gain an additional
+1 level 2 spell.
plus 1 spell known and hit points, and your ability score increase.
I also get to change a hit pointer. No, sorry, not a hit point. I also get to change one of my current spells.
If you would like to, yes, you can. You can
Alright,
rotate
so,
one out for another one.
I'm gonna jump my con up to 16, get +3 to my con, and I'm gonna jump my charisma up to 18, +1 to charisma. There we go.
Nice.
So HP.
Well, you were at 17. You were at 17 and 15.
Yes, I was. Remember, we had to talk about that, and you were like, "Well, level 4, it's gonna even out nicely," and I was like, "Yes, it will."
Sounds about right.
And here it does.
Yep.
So, do we get retroactive hit points?
Yes. That is how
Okay,
that's how it works. So it's based off
how
of
much do I
you
get?
calculate your hit points at every point at which you level up, and every time your Constitution modifier changes.
So I get 4 + 3 at 7, so it'll be 27. But I also get like +1 for all my previous levels, right?
Correct.
So I'll be at 30.
What are you at the moment?
27.
You're at 27. Wait. Before you increase your mod,
It was at 20.
You're at 20. Then you gain 4 plus your con mod, so 26. Yes, then you would increase to 30 because you do that and then do your ability score increase, and then you can calculate the increase from that as 4.
Boom, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm at 30
Oh, I feel
HP.
less special now.
But I mean, you guys are doing this at the behest of increasing your main casting stat, your main attack stat, so that can be a pretty big difference.
Oh, my casting stat still went up, so.
Yeah. I mean, in your case, you just happen to leave everything odd.
Because of that much shit.
But yeah, totally. So, and then last but not least, I just need to find the thingy for
I need
it.
to go grab some food.
Yeah, go. If you guys need to take your break as well, go ahead. Like we said, we'll take a break till like 20 to 10 because that's about 15 minutes. But I still need to do this with Elliot. What am I looking for? Classes, Blood Hunter. I believe it's pretty simple. I believe you do just get your ability score increase and hit points. So your hit points will go up by a 6 plus your con mod. And you also get to do an ability score increase or a feat. Next level's fucking awesome for you, but it's next level. Next level you get like everything. It's awesome. And you can also change out the curse if you like, I believe. You can take a feat? Okay,
Yes,
so
I'm going to take the tough feat, just so you know.
You're just gonna pump out your...
Nice! I'm loving we're all going feats.
Mate,
Yeah.
dude.
I
Mate,
haven't.
dude, man,
I
buddy,
haven't gone for a feat.
friend.
You're-
Meet dude, man, buddy, friend. I'm going to have so much HP.
I'm so excited.
Cool,
I'm
and
going
I can't wait when you can't hit anything. It's gonna be so good. As a DM, it's just the best. It's the best to see people not putting their stats up to full. It's so good. Because feats like are awesome. It's great, and then it makes the characters like better in different ways. It's fantastic.
I'm not about hitting stuff. I'm about getting hit.
That you've made that very apparent.
Oh yes.
So perfect. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. I still haven't set up a BRB screen because at this point it's kind of it's almost just a thing that it's not there. But we'll be back in about 15 minutes. We're back at 22. to continue this as the players
nice.
arrive in or at the gates of Vallaki. And yeah, I will also. I mean, actually, I just want to quickly look at chat as well. But you guys go take your breaks as well, because I just want to say hi and thank you and hi, Ketchup.
Oh.
You followed in
See you in
amongst.
15.
Yeah, see you in a bit, guys.
Alright.
Yeah, but what was I going to say? Yeah, you've decided to follow at a time where I'm being followed by bots, which is really annoying. But hey, it happens. But what was I going to say? Hey, Brew. Hey, everyone else. Hey, Mal.
Saying hello to the crew.
Yeah, it's my regulars. Hey, Kat. Thank you
Miss
for
your
the
voice.
donation as well again, dude. Seriously, really appreciate it. Now that one's going to be going to Elliot, I believe. So,
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I actually really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Super cool of everyone to tune in like that and help
Yeah.
out. Like, it's really exciting.
and what's going to happen is you won't be able to hear cars driving away and Elliot's mic anymore. You'll just be able to hear him more clearly. Touch
I
wood.
don't know if it's been more quiet recently. I don't know if this session. I mean, I always try and just like mute really quickly. Like, fuck.
No, dude,
There's
it's
a fucking
it's
Deliveroo going on outside.
You know,
so.
it's totally fine. But yeah, anyway, I just want to say thanks, and also hey, Skin. But yeah, thank you guys. Seriously, we'll probably be doing one of these at the end anyway, as we do. But I just wanted to say thank you now because we've reached the goal, which is awesome. Yeah, the party did just hit level 4. I usually try and do leveling outside of a session, but because it obviously can bog things down. But because it was level 4 and it was a pretty straightforward one comparatively, I was pretty happy to just get this done now during our break. The players already had a rough idea of what was going to be coming. And although it doesn't technically kick in, I'm kind of just hand-waving it saying, sure, you get it now. It's just easier that way. But yeah, we'll be back in, like I said, just over 10 minutes, 22, where we'll be continuing this as the party arrive at Vallaki.
Yeah.
And we're back. Sorry for the delay. Many dicks were drawn.
No more inappropriate
No
jokes,
context.
guys.
Yeah, no, it's all been purged from my eyes with eye bleach. So we're back. The party have hit level 4. For reference, they've gained all the features, they gained all the things that they gained for hitting level 4, except for their current hit points. They haven't increased. Maximum ones have. Also, if we just want to run down quickly, what did you guys take as well for your leveling? So we'll start with Snake. In terms of your ability score increase, you went 1 and 1. So it was...
I went 1 for 1. I went con and charisma.
Which bumped both up by 1, which is pretty damn juicy. So you've got an 18 and 16, which is increases survivability, increases your spell save DC, your to hit and all that. Sean, what have you gone for?
I went 1 in strength and 1 in constitution, which bumped those up. So I'm now +3 in strength and a +2 in con.
Very nice.
And I took thaumaturgy as my cantrip, and I have an extra prepared spell, which I think I picked command.
Sure, but you can rotate that out on long rests and whatnot, whatever you feel like. So yeah, no, very nice. Harry, Gaza, what you gone for?
I had taken a feat, which was the Great Weapon Master, which you said you were going to help me with, and you haven't yet. But
yeah, well, I was busy. I was busy diffusing a Dix-related situation where there were many penises being drawn on the map, and it kind of fell under the wayside.
I'm asking for a hand, Ian. That's what I'm asking for. Thank you, Elliot.
A hand on your dick.
What, you've removed the. Wait, you've kept it as lashing damage, which is.
I haven't changed it on my half.
You can also just give the +10 in here.
But it's minus to attack, though.
It is minus to attack, which is correct. So you have a -1 to hit when you use Great Weapon Master.
-1. -5.
So that should work just fine now. I just added it into the... Because we're using the reroll less than 2 feature. But if you just +10 into that, it should work just fine.
Okay.
So if you give that a try now. See if it works. It should just have it all in the one number, so you get a pretty big number from that.
With the GWM one, or the top one, sorry?
GWM is the only one I've
Oh
changed.
god, sorry, my internet's slowing up.
That's alright. Although I don't know if it's included.
Cool.
And for some reason the sound has come back. That makes no sense. No, I've muted it again. I'm gonna click it to test it. There you go. So if it hits, it does 23. You can remove
the 10 damage isn't doing anything.
The 10 damage is included in that 23.
Oh, clever.
Yes.
Oh, is
So
it?
it rolls in one number. So I don't know why the plus damage. Oh, you've ticked that. There we go. So it's all
Sorry,
included.
buddy.
It's all right. It's all included in one number. So it will rather than having
Much
1 and 1,
excitement.
it's always going to be 10. So might as well add it in. Sophie, what have you gone for?
I just bumped my dex up by 2, so that's up to my attack rolls by 1. It's up to my AC by 1, up to 17 now, which is quite nice. My initiative's gone up by 1 as well.
Yep.
I've also got an extra spell slot from Arcane Trickster, and I picked another. I think it's an illusion spell, the silent image, to add to my repertoire.
Yeah, totally. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, cool. And Trundle, right here. What have you gone for? Motherfucker.
Well, I've gone for a feat as opposed to stats increase. I've gone for tough because I am AR-fucking-D, mate.
You are with an insane amount of hit points, which is totally awesome. So yeah, Trundle is a tough nut. You're all tough nuts to crack, but don't worry, I'll find ways. So that's what you've gained effectively. The party is tougher, hardier, more spelly, and in some cases more strong and other things. But yeah, you
We're
arrive.
also prone to drawing cocks.
That was a problem long before we started playing D&D. But the party has arrived.
That started at level 1.
Exactly. That started at level 1 in our last campaign. So you guys are arrived at this set of gates. You're about, 50 feet or so out. Just arriving at the points where these pikes are rising up out the ground. Upon which there are these wolf heads. They look like they've been there for a couple of days at least, at very minimum. But some of them have had their eyes sort of pecked out by local bird life. You see as though these 2 guards behind this closed gate, just sort of looming there with, you can see long spears next to them, and they haven't moved as you guys move forward. But you approach these gates, this palisade standing a good 15-20 feet high surrounding it, and the iron gate in between, again, shut. So what would you like to do?
Trundle, not recognizing anything, continues as normal,
Sure.
leaving it to someone else. Q.
Is that you clearing your throat? Trundle clearing your throat.
No, it's not.
So what are you guys up to?
I'm looking at the wolves' heads and going, ew. Are they like real wolves' heads, or are they potentially werewolf heads? Or would I know enough about werewolves to know that that's not how it works? Or I don't know.
They look like wolves. Yeah, just go ahead and give me a flat intelligence check.
Okay. I've still got the normal in there. Oh, yep. There we go.
Yeah, you have enough of an intelligence to know that, at least from the reading you did before heading out in this way, you realise that, yeah, they would turn back. These appear to just be wolf heads. There's one that seems larger than the others, probably a dire wolf. The rest all appear to be wolves. And again, they are all very dead, very separate from their bodies. Their bodies are nowhere to be seen. And these appear to have been placed out here, just on these spikes. It's hard to say exactly how long ago, but you'd hazard a guess to say in the last few days. There's definitely signs that they've started to sag a little bit. But again, with a 10, you can't really... You're not like really great at observing this.
No, I'm really not. Just carry on.
You had the best chance out of all of us.
I did. Yes, your best chance for the +2.
And you wasted it. No. So
I did.
But as you all stand there, sort of, Arena sort of, again, for meta reasons, not really meta reasons, just so you guys can take the lead on this, she kind of just sort of stops and says, well, this is, I believe, Vallaki. I haven't been here many years, since I was a young child, I think, but shall we go? And she'll sort of gesture towards the gates. It is also at this point early to mid-afternoon, after the journey from the morning and your encounter and subsequent sort of...
Where are we going? Is there an inn we can stay at, or are we staying with someone you know here?
She shrugs and says, there must be an inn somewhere, but the only place I knew to go was the church.
We'll ask there. Church folk are notoriously super generous.
Yeah, she does go like she does say
notoriously fun too.
Yeah, she does say. However,
Exactly.
I don't know where it is, but I'm sure they can point us in the right direction. And as a note, as well as you approach towards the gate, again the guards sort of almost unmoving. They've definitely seen you all, approaching in clear sight. You can hear the faint sound of like hustle and bustle within the walls of this place. It's not like loud and booming, but you can hear at least a few voices off in the distance, maybe a wagon or two, wagon wheels turning. You can see a couple of smokestacks rising out of a couple of these buildings across the map and across the fucking wall. But as you can see on the map, and you're able to approach unabated. But again, she's sort of leaving it for you to continue on.
Do we know if... Sorry, out of our party, is anyone actually injured other than missing their max hit points?
Trundle is still looking a little bit like... Not like withered,
Cool.
but slightly gaunt, shall we say. And other than that, I believe everyone else is looking pretty reasonable.
Fine.
So...
I mean, I'm not touching the wolf boy.
Sure.
Okay. I guess I will head up to one of the guards and go
Sure.
like, "Howdy," and then forget I've got no eyes.
Yeah. I mean, are you still
I'm
wearing
terrified.
your gauze, your kind of cover?
Yeah.
So as you approach, the guard sort of looking out, the one nearest to where you approach, as you're sort of about to sort of give your greeting. Once you get within about 10 feet of the gate, they sort of look up to you and just call across. He's a gruff guy, probably in his mid-30s, a mottled beard coming out a little bit, and a relatively sort of metal tin helmet, pretty simple. Looks across at you and just says, "What is your business here, Vallaki? You're outsiders. I do not recognize you."
Howdy, we're looking to talk to your minister, the guy in the church.
You're looking to go to the church.
Yeah, if that's okay.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check, and because of your eyes, you have disadvantage. Unfortunately, this is how it works. You sent the one person who has disadvantage for it. It's great. Go for it.
Are they not covered?
They're covered, but it's still disconcerting when someone's just wandering up to you blind and going like, "Hey, howdy! Yeah, let me into your town."
I think that's offensive to blind people.
Well, in a world like this where you seem to be openly like moving around on your own, people are cautious, should we say?
That's the issue.
It's probably less bad than wandering up with like holes. But go ahead and make a like I said, a persuasion check.
I think I clicked it, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll wait another 30 or so seconds. I mean, it's more just to see the reaction per se, as you were sort of talking to him. 11's pretty reasonable, all things considered. As he sort of looks at you, he sort of eyes you up, slightly curious. You see him cock his head slightly. He looks across to the other guard, and he glances across. There's no words exchanged, but they kind of quizzically furrow their brows, as you are able to sense. And they looks back to you and says, "And the rest of them, are they all coming in to see to go to the church as well?"
Yeah, but we'd also like somewhere to stay. I don't know if that's available in the church. I don't know how you guys run it here. If there's an inn or something.
He pauses for a moment. Again, he looks back and just sort of there's a nod from the other guard, and then he sort of steps forward and starts to open the gate. He says, "All right, but no troublemaking. And if you're looking for an inn, there's the Blue Water Inn. It's pretty hard to miss. If you follow this path through town, you'll find it dead center, about half a mile down the road." And the gates creak open as they both step forward, pulling the gates open. They creak and screech, and the path is open to you as you see in the distance a couple of people sort of crossing the road from building to building. You hear the hustle bustle coming from the kind of southwest of where you are as you are able to step in, as the guards eye you, and
sorry, just before we leave that area, it's okay. Would any of them notice them like weird eye looking at Zadie when she was asking these questions or not?
I mean, yeah. They're more seemingly curious. It's not necessarily sort of go ahead and make an insight check. It's not really
Sure.
per se a judgment of that. It's more that there's a bunch of people they don't recognize heading up to the to enter this town. And in a place like this, you can imagine where the fog clings close to the southern wall, they're not too keen on. Doesn't look like they're too keen on just letting anyone in. But with the 5, I mean, they seem defensive or protective, but that's about it.
I want to approach one of the guards quickly. The one that was mainly sort of like talking to us as we.
Yeah,
as we
the other one hasn't said a word. He's just sort of watching.
Okay, I want to sort of, as we sort of being ushered in, I want to step up to him and say, "Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I'm a doctor, and she is one of my recent patients. We require supplies, aid, if you will. Is there anywhere of note we should be aware of?"
What kind of aid are you looking for?
Medical supplies, weapons, armors, trinkets. We unfortunately came into some trouble on the way here, and as you can see, some of us came out slightly worse than others.
Yeah, some of you look like shit. You see him pause for a moment. There's a small, I wouldn't quite say marketplace, and he sort of gestures just centrally. If you head centrally into town, you might find some things in the town square. I mean, there's shops and all the like in town, but I'm not sure. I'm sorry. And he just kind of shrugs.
Right. You have my thanks, and I'll just proceed forward.
And as he sort of, you hear, like, as you guys all move through, you hear the gates screeching close. You hear there's like a bit of muttering between the two guards, and the one who's been talking sort of calls out after your group as you're only a short distance away. He says, "Oh, and the festival of the blazing sun is coming soon. Look around town if you're interested." And he just sort of like,
"Oh my god, tell me everything." I'm gonna run straight
he's-
back up to him and go like, "Tell me everything about this festival."
he shrugs slightly as he sort of turns back as they're closing the gates, and then he looks back as this sort of blind-eyed woman rushes up to him and he looks at you somewhat disconcertedly. Sorry, what is the what does it you want to know?
I'm gonna shoot a look at Rhea and be
Just
like,
everything.
fucking gonna
I
grab
will
this.
point to my religious symbol, which is a big sunshine.
Come
I'll
on.
be like,
he chuckles slightly and says, "More information will be available in due course. I don't know. Go speak to the burgomaster if you so feel. We're just messengers. there'll be posters put out, I'm sure." And he just shrugs. He seems relatively disinterested, but
It wasn't.
Do I know what the heck that is? Just out of
no,
curiosity.
no, you
No,
have no idea.
probably not. No.
And Zadie,
Not my
neither do you.
scene. Yeah.
Um,
I think Harry was trying to get. Well, Guzza was trying to get Ray's attention or something just then.
Only in an attempt to try and like pull Zadie away from scaremongering the rest of these guards from going from twitchy. I don't know what trigger finger is in blade work terms, but
You'll grab one arm, I'll
Yes.
grab the other.
That was the idea, but I think-
a hankering for a shankering, something like that.
yes, that's what they say.
That's what they say.
So in order to avoid the hankering, I am going to try and grab Zadie, but it seems like the conversation dies just as we like
Yeah,
put
I
the
mean,
decision.
sure.
together.
As it's happening, as he's sort of being uninterested, and Zadie's still sort of almost looking to ask more questions in a way. You're able to just place your hand on her shoulder and kind of pull her away friendly. And as you do, Zadie, you're left like still facing him in a way, looking over your shoulder, despite you know the situation. Looking over your shoulder, he just kind of like looks at Guz and just smiles and nods slightly, like almost like a thank you.
Let's not bother the guards doing their job.
Yeah, and they close the gates and you
have
see
a
them.
festival.
And as you look,
Zadie, we know that. Zadie, we know that even the strongest light can hurt the best of eyes. Let's take a break and carry on.
Go get a drink, please.
sure. And as you're turning around, as you're watching this, you can see behind the palisades. There's about there's like every so often there's a ladder. It's pretty nondescript, simple ladder, well made enough, not sort of really handy, like not very basic, but leading up to this palisade, about 10 or 12 feet up on the other side of the wall. And as you glance around, at least the more perceptive of you notice that there's the occasional guard sort of maybe a couple of 100 feet down the wall, just sort of walking along, looking out over the forest or looking out over to the north, sort of where you know the lake to be, but just looking out every so often, because this place isn't huge. As you can see by the scale, it's about a mile east to west. And as you venture through the town, there's a bit of a hustle and bustle of people moving by. As you move through past this potion bottle shaped section, you see that there's effectively a stockyard. It's a place where there's several wagons tied up. There's not really anything going on there. You see a few traders, or what look like traders, sort of loading crates up onto wagons or emptying things, moving supplies around. A couple of wagons do roll out and are slowly sort of moving through the town around this time of day, as it's sort of the afternoon time per se. But that's all you see as you move on by. You continue to move through, and then the hustle and bustle gets a little bit louder, and the road forks off in two directions. One that sort of continues along this main path, another which narrows but then opens up into what looks to be a small town square, where there's a larger building with smoke, effectively, where one of the smokestacks is forming from. But if you're just pushing on to the center, where following these directions towards the inn, it's not
the blue water in.
Yeah, it's not long before you reach this central crossroads per se, and there's a large building to the sort of, the north side of the road. I believe it's this. Want to make sure I get the right building. Not that it makes too much of a difference. It is, yeah, okay. This orange shaped building here. Orange shaped, you know what I mean? The orange building that's weirdly shaped like a Tetris piece. And you see a sign outside saying the Blue Water Inn. It's pretty nondescript. The sign is just that of a few waves, and you can hear a few people within as it's sort of afternoon time. A couple of people coming and going, and this seems to be, compared to the village of Barovia, where no one was outside. The only people you saw were in the tavern, in the church, and the children that you saw that drew you in the first place. This place, there are people out and about. This seems to be not necessarily more upbeat. I mean, they are more upbeat per se, but it's more of like there's more quite literal, almost life in these people. They're moving around. You see the occasional people sort of move by. Some are just trudging by. Occasional people will see your odd collective of people and look up and smile slightly. But coming along with your group, of course, Irina sort of gets to this inn and says, "This must be the inn he was talking about. Would you like to go inside?" And she goes and moves towards the door, opens it up for you, and gestures for you all to go in.
Yeah, I'll enter.
Sure.
Yep, me too.
Mm-hmm. And as you sort of step into,
I just want to have a brief look around. I want to walk in last, but I want to just sort of like have a brief look around and see if anyone's taken note of the strange, unhuman individuals walking in here. You know, because we stick out like a bunch of sore thumbs.
yeah.
Trundle is a little bit apprehensive and trying to keep his head as low as possible. Despite looking human, he doesn't feel it on the inside, so he's really keeping this one on the deal.
I mean, I'd say, Richter, looking around, there doesn't. I mean, your group stands out. Everyone you see here is human, and one of your group is human. The other two that look slightly distinctly human. One is wearing bandages over her eyes effectively, and the other one is blue. So, you know, it's the rest of you do stick out quite a bit. You get the occasional glance, nothing you deem as menacing per se. No sort of, you know, you don't get any racist vibes effectively. You do get some people who just sort of stare.
Has our presence been like sufficiently noticed by the people, or are we just sort of going about our
I mean, it's too early to say really. Like there's people moving around. Definitely people who look at you. Some who just again look relatively vacant. Others who you get this kind of like, you know, as they're pushing along their wagons and whatnot, sort of look up, see you, and there's just like a faint smile of just like, you know. There seems to be some joy, like kind of some joy in the world. Perhaps you're not quite sure. You don't know what they're thinking, but
okay.
But as you step into the tavern again, the tavern from the outside looks a little bit beaten up. It's a little bit rough, but not too bad. And you know the stained glass windows that sort of there's one stained glass window on the front that is it's not anything being depicted, just a sort of like a white, a yellow, and a blue. As it sort of it's very faintly depicting some sort of water. And again, you'd expect with a name as it has, you'd expect it to depict something of that nature. But you see several crows as well perched along the roof line, a couple on the sign as well. You notice the presence of crows kind of around the city, but there seem to be quite a few here. And as you step in, as you look around the actual tavern itself, there's quite a few people in here. It's much larger than the Blood of the Vine tavern that you went into before. And instead of being a tavern per se, it's more of an inn. It has that homely vibe. There's warmth there. There's several people sitting down at what looks like a shared table, eating what looks like a kind of a beet red soup with bread that they're kind of dipping in and chewing on. There's a gruff-looking bartender. I would say gruff-looking. He's sort of dark blackish hair. Looks to be in his late 40s. It's sort of definitely twists of grey in his mustache and his goatee. But his hair has flecks of grey in it as well. And you see him sort of, chatting away with one of the other patrons of the bar. But as he looks up and sees faces he didn't recognise, and there's a smile on his face. But again, you're too far away to really converse. And he sort of finishes his conversation as you approach. Kind of looks in, looks over and says, "Hello, how can I help? You don't look to be from around here."
Sadie?
Okay, I'm taking the lead even though I got no eyes. Okay.
No, you're fine.
As you say that, he looks at you like,
I mean,
Just give me that coin there.
I will step up beside her
So-
just in case she gets a little out of sorts.
No, I'm literally just going to put myself in between the barkeep's vision. Just like he's not seeing this girl's weird eyes.
I mean, he kind of already has at this
Weird
point,
eyes for like
but
5 seconds.
instead the half orc is in the way, and he sort of like looks up, and there's sort of like a pretty,
Hi.
not smiling per se, but he's sort of looking at you and going, "I'm gonna help."
My hand in the way.
Like
Sir,
cover.
it's good to meet your acquaintance. Me here and my compatriots would like to buy some of your finest drinks now. Can you tell me what you got behind that bear bar of yours?
He sort of looks across again. There's a couple of taps on there. He says, "Well, we have running a bit of short supply, but we have. Bear with me. Excuse me." I've been imbibing myself. We have some purple grape smash, but if you're looking for a finer wine, there's the Red Dragon Crush. It's 3 copper for a purple grape mash. Red Dragon is the silver for a pint.
Oh, I do not believe that some of us will be, and I just look at just the eyes match with, I assume, Richter, and I'll just grab Zadie behind me because I'm not going to try and grab keep eyes with the girl that has no eyes, and just be like, I think that'd be 3 waters and the 2 wines that he suggested for these 2.
I just know.
Which wines? I guess.
Oh no, sorry. The 2 wines for these 2 people for Trundle and.
Which wines would you like? They're both wines. Purple grape mash and Red Dragon Crush, both wines.
The one with the highest alcohol content, please.
Sir, let us take one of both. We are forever always interested in what you can offer.
Sure, he nods. I mean, yeah, go ahead. I mean, it's like 2 silver, for that. But so you can mark. I mean, you can mark off 2 silver. As he sort of looks across, as he's sort of tapping his eyes, says, "So I haven't seen you around there. Are you looking for a place to stay tonight?" These sort of beady eyes flick across the bar, looking at you, looking at everyone else. You see a sort of female figure lurking at the other end of the bar, serving someone else. Looks quite a bit.
What's Arena doing? Sorry, while we're here.
She just sort of nervously wringing her hands, and as you're ordering the drink, she says, I'll have a Red Dragon Crush as well, if that's alright." And she glances to you as you're ordering.
Taking the coinage back, I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm just putting like another silver piece across for her drink as well.
Sure. And again, he taps these drinks out. But he says, "Looking for a place to stay tonight."
Do you have any rooms to spare?
And he looks across your group of 6. We have enough, of course. Maybe to share rooms. We have shared rooms for 4 and another for 2. So, not really, all separate beds. I assume. But he says, yes, it would be total 3.5 gold, 3 gold, 1 electrum, if that's okay.
We'll trade these drinks now, sir, and converse, and come back to you with a price shortly.
He says, "No pressure. These are the best beds in town." But and he serves your drinks.
Take and pass.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I assume you're able to sort of shove them all, pass them across the group. Now, looking around the room, you notice again. I feel like I should do a better description of the kind of scale of this place. There's again, behind the bar, there are 3 large wine barrels. We're talking 8 foot, kind of 7 or 8 foot wide, all sort of wedged in at the back, like huge sort of barrels that a wagon would be able to carry 2 or 3 of, maybe at once. The actual group of patrons, there appear to be about 5 or 6 sort of lurking patrons nearby, just sitting at this one shared table, chowing down on some broth. The distinct individuals now, there's a bunch of there's a pair of individuals who are, one is balding with a thicker beard, the other sort of a more scarred up face with longer straggly hair, not too different from Trundle per se, but he looks older and more weathered in a way, with a bit of a beard starting to form on his chin. They appear to be there. You can see without question that they appear to be armed. The balding man with the long beard has a bow and arrow, and the other individual has a couple of blades at his side. They're just sort of sitting back at this table, sort of drinking and observing, seeing you, and breaking the actual the dour mood is there's a single individual dressed rather colourfully, who wears like a very sort of a pomp hat, reddish and bluish colours, yellows as well, golds, who just sits there sort of looking across the bar, but notably, you're able to see something rather interesting. And I would say this is for those of you, any of you have passive perception over, I'd say about 14 or higher.
How does passive perception work with
10 plus your perception modifier.
Okay, and it has nothing to do with any of those weird ass advantages or disadvantages or
no impact.
Yeah, cool. Just cool. No, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Anyone? So no one.
Sorry.
No one's
No,
got...
one's 13.
We're
10,
not
baby!
We're not a
10.
perceptive bunch.
I thought you were. I thought you had some wisdom, folks.
No.
Okay.
Wait, hold up. Wait, what was it again?
10 plus your perception modifier.
I mean, if you don't know your perception when you're asked your perception, I think that's just instant disadvantage.
Yeah, I
mean,
think so.
I'll leave it this time.
You have
Because I'm
plus.
an
You
idiot.
have a passive perception of 14. It's 10 plus
do, yes.
perception,
No,
which
yeah,
is 4.
no,
Don't
14.
leave it at this time. You see it.
I will leave it at this
I
time.
fucked up.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just it's fine. Just you know.
No worries.
It's
yeah.
okay.
Don't
Fine.
sweat it. Yeah, so as you're all looking around and sort of catching the eyes of these folk, you notice another pair of what look very similar looking individuals. They both, I don't know, seem quite drunk, sitting there in a corner, just being a bit more boisterous and noisy than others. With this other individual's sitting there, rather, you know, pompily dressed, shall we say. It's just sort of jotting something in a notebook. And Trundle, you're the only person to notice this. You notice this very slightly pointed ears sticking out from the side of his hat. This probably wouldn't be saying anything that you'd even double sort of be taken aback by, but you've only seen humans here, and that's a relatively distinct sign of a half elf or an elf. And you catch it as you're glancing around the room, like, you know, sort of relatively, maybe not nervously, but in your slightly nervous disposition, that catches your eye. But he sits there on his own, sort of just writing something down or drawing something far enough away that you're unable to really see, you know, unable to see any finer detail on what he's drawing.
Understood.
Mm-hmm. But
I sip,
Mhm.
whilst staring from a distance.
Sure. Are you all sort of heading to just to a seat? Effectively, there's enough space that you can find a table. But is that what you're doing?
Richter and Trundle are going on ahead of the rest of the others. I'm going to try and like slightly curtail the other two here.
Sure.
Just sort of like try to hold them back for a second and just see if those two walk on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge place, mind, but there's enough room for you to sort of move your way through and make your way, like to be able to linger back. You know, effectively, the bar is there, and bear with me. I'm just going to try and get you onto the actual map, so you have an idea of what it looks like. There are. Where's the fuck? I'm so confused right now. Because you guys should be able to see this, but you cannot. And because of the way tokens work, everyone fills up a shit ton of space, like a shit ton. What? There we go.
Quickly, Richter, cast Giganticize on all of us.
Giganticize.
Gigantic.
That
I
sounds
haven't
like
heard that spell.
That
before.
sounds like a
Psychotic
level
spell.
8 spell.
yeah.
Level 8 psycho.
No,
deal-
that's how
deals
Gaza remembers it. That's
10
what just happened to him
D12
last time we fought
psychotic
this thing.
damage.
Giganticize.
Hell through hell or something.
Love that.
Right, there are other people in here, but for ease of purpose, I've just dragged your tokens on and left the individuals that are
It's alright.
unique, shall we say, or of interesting disposition.
But they're not.
Well, they are. They stand out a little bit more, shall we say? But they're not the only people there. Is what I'm trying to clarify. Is that there are another about 6 locals in here.
Characters, you could say.
You sure? Yeah. You get me, pal. You get me.
Equal to or greater than us.
Yeah. So let me get you moved onto this map. Apologies. Just so you can
alright.
see. I have no idea of what you were able to actually see, which is kind of a bit controversial, shall we say? But
Scroll down, people. Scroll down.
yeah, scroll down. Oh, you can actually only see indoors. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if you would be able to see everything or not because I didn't actually play around with the lighting in this map. But you step inside, you order your drinks, and you're able to find a table, probably the central table here, to be honest, which you are all able to fit around.
Oh, sorry. I tried to keep those two away from us three talking before we sat around a table.
Sure. Okay, that's true.
Which two?
Apologies.
Despite the fact my character actually wouldn't split up, I will indulge you for this.
About it.
I will allow.
It's like 10 feet, 15 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it those 3, those 2?
No.
Nope.
Swap Trundle for Rhea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. You move away again. The bartenders just continue cleaning up.
You stopped me, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Is your name Rhea?
Yes.
Cool.
Wow.
And I just ask the two of them, like, a moment, if you will, and sort of move them towards the table, I guess, to just the south here.
You're not going to get all serious, are you? I just want to have a drink.
Just
Go on.
look at the drink in front of her. Just,
What is it? Go on.
I mean, I don't think we got a right moment to talk about the situation here, and I sort of like, I try and like action towards Zadie and see if she's reacting to it, or if she even sees me doing this.
You see it, really. Just turning towards your face or something to that effect. Not like, I imagine not rudely, but sort of. You know what he's talking about or what he's indicating.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to discuss it?
Not really?
All right.
Good. End of
Personal?
roleplay. Next conversation.
Yep.
Cool. Let me just prep this combat. No, I'm fucking with you.
Alright, is that the conversation, or?
I think it is.
Okay.
I mean, he can press if he wants.
Oh.
Meanwhile, in this split moment, I will take hold of Trundle and just
Absolutely, yeah.
yes, definitely. My friend, do not pay attention to those skulls. Nobody knows of this aside from these few, and although some's allegiance may be questionable, we're in good hands for now. But keep your wits about you. Don't imbibe too much. And I gesture towards the drinks that were handed to him previously.
Thank you.
It would be best to be on your feet. We don't know who could be here.
I shall stay alert. Me more than anyone, dare I say, might be scared. And I'll shake the wine and polish it off and then just leave it there.
I mean, it's like a pint of wine. Like.
Okay, well, okay.
Yeah, you can totally neck it. I'm just sorry. I don't want to be close. It's a pint mug of wine. It's not like a wine glass where you can just.
He gets that warning. Don't drink too much.
Yeah,
Just
drink
throws
responsibly.
it all
It's like the advert where drinking's super cool and edgy. And it's like, oh, by the way, drink responsibly. Yeah, no, just so you're aware. It's a pint.
I'll take a hearty mouthful of the wine and swish it around in my mouth instead.
It's fine. It's like, you get what you paid for. It's probably better than the other stuff. It seems better than I believe you had some wine in the previous tavern, in the Blood on the Vine tavern. It's better than that, but it's I guess you're probably not a wine connoisseur, but it's okay. It's passable. Like
that is all. And yourself, Richter, how are you faring in these events?
Well, a couple of bruises here and there, but other than that, I'm perfectly fine. Interesting. My examinations are progressing as I had hoped, and unfortunately I'm not getting quite the desired results I'm looking for, but we have all the time in the world here in this cursed place, and I'm sure we'll find more interesting.
I guess both of our research is progressing.
In one way or another. Do not fear your beast, Trundle. For now, it may be new, but you will regain control. Gesture towards his drink once more. Don't drink too much.
I raise the glass again to him and take another, respectful swig.
A respectful swig.
A respectful swig.
And as you're sitting down,
ridiculous swig.
As you're sitting down, you do hear the sound of rain start to fall and slowly get heavier, as it sounds like outside rain, just beginning to rain.
I imagine everyone else would have joined us by then.
Yeah, I was going to say.
If we go back to our guys first.
Oh, yeah, because we were. I was going to sort of add something as well.
Sure.
Well, actually, speaking of this whole thing, so this is real dumb of me, but I actually picked something up from that house we were in first, and then I was going to read it, and then I never got a chance. Now I can't. So do one of you guys want to take a look? It's probably useless to us now, but it's here. So I'll give them the letter I found in the death house.
That you will.
Okay, I'll have a look.
Good.
You took something that wasn't yours. And just cackle madly as I take it off her.
Yeah.
It was on the NASCAR with all the, the guy on the wall.
Who is it addressed to? Can I tell who it's to?
Yeah, bear with me. I wasn't expecting this to come up right now. I am aware of what letter you're talking about. So
Sadie stole something. Sadie.
It's not...
As I unfold it, I'm just Sadie stole something. Sadie.
I don't think it's quite stealing. He, was dead, and I gave him the rats. So
I gave him the right.
He's in heaven now. He's fine.
His soul looks down upon me as I rummage through his.
You justify it however you want.
I can't remember how I justified. I think it had something on it.
Something, Pelor, read this note.
Yeah, it said dear Zadie, sad from Pelor.
I'm
Pretty
sure
sure
it
the sun
was
is
important.
and therefore it's Pelos, and I am a servant of Pelos, so it's
I'll,
mine.
I'll start.
I had a justification.
As you pull it out, it seems to have aged quite a bit. This is something I can't remember if I said to everyone, but you would have noted everything and anything you would have taken from that house, with the exception of the cloak of protection, the silvered short sword, and I mean even this letter's aged, but it's still sealed. It's gone from being like a crisp white sort of sealed letter to where the wax has begun to chip and crack. It's still recognizable, or at least the image it's intended to create is still visible. But the letter itself is yellowed over time. You can see that the seal that probably would have led around beside the wax has cracked away, and it is almost able to be popped open. But the seal itself is this kind of this. It's interesting. There's almost this tower running down the middle with a point, followed by these wings spread out either side, and a bird-like being in the middle. It looks to be some sort of crow or raven, but you're able to produce the letter, and you're popping it open.
Well, someone is, because I can't read it. So
Yeah, I'll take it off her and pop it open.
As you mock her for this, yeah.
Yes, as I mock her for taking it. Sure.
Not.
So the seal.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so the seal cracks, and as it does, No, I'm kidding. You pull out this letter that's faded but still legible, and the letter reads as follows. It seems to have been, if you recall, it was clutched in the hand of an individual sort of leaning into this chest. So it looked like he was taking it from the chest. It just reads, "My most pathetic servant, I am not a messiah sent to you by the dark powers of this land. I have not come to lead you on a path to immortality. However many souls you have bled on your hidden altar, how many visitors you have tortured in your dungeon, know that you are not the ones who brought me to this beautiful land. You're but worms writhing in my earth. You say that you're cursed, your fortunes spent. You abandoned love for madness, took solace in the bosom of another woman, and sired a stillborn son. Cursed by darkness, of that I have no doubt. Save you from your wretchedness, I think not. I much prefer you as you are. Your dread lord and master, Strahd von Zarovich."
Oh, so he's just not nice to anyone.
Well, he's quite the charming character, isn't he? Yes. I can't imagine why Irina doesn't want him biting her neck.
Yeah, at this point, Irina's probably sat down with the rest of you. So the other two of you, I keep with NPCs. You know how I'm for NPC management sometimes. So yeah, she's just perched down. She's probably lingering for a little bit, eyeing the room carefully, but she would have perched herself down with you guys after your conversation.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it must be quite frightening to be up close and personal like that.
Right, Trundle?
Have you moved back over at this
No,
point?
we're not with them. I don't know.
I was going to say.
I thought we'd all sat down together at this point.
No.
Oh, we're not. No, never mind.
Just Irina.
Who?
I said, well, Trundle would agree.
I think Arena's with those two.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trundle's ears without hearing twitch slightly.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I guess he would. Yeah.
They brought him to this land, or at least trying to take credit for it. What?
I believe our friends are waiting. Shall we?
Uh-huh.
I point to the other three.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
And you make your way
I'm just
over?
gonna keep staring at the letter, just...
Mhm. Again, for
Pouring
ease of
over it
purpose,
a
if you
little
just stack yourselves like that in the room as you would sort of just
Oh.
effectively. There is space between you and those two. They are just sitting there drinking. In fact, for ease of purpose, I'll put them over here, just to make it easier. There's still room around the stairs, etc., etc.
How is Rhea's wine looking?
It's
How
looking like mine.
Okay, well, yeah, no, full, empty. How's your glass?
It's in my hand.
And
But
how much have you drank of it?
I
It's
haven't
a-
had
it's a-
chance
it's a-
to have any yet.
Yeah, and it's a tankard
Okay.
effectively, so you can't like see through it per se. But yeah, I mean,
Okay, no problem. No, nothing then.
it's only been a couple, it's only been a couple of minutes at this point.
I was only going to fill it up. You don't have to get so expensive.
I'm used to your other character having all of my alcoholic drinks.
That's what I was worried. I was like, oh, he's just going to take everyone's
So
drinks.
hang
Oh,
on, you're in the wrong campaign for this.
Brindle likes a drink, but he isn't a savage.
Well, I am, and I'm gonna drink the whole thing.
Is this the
Okay.
the top shelf stuff? I feel like you guys deserve whatever the top shelf is. I'm gonna go over to the bar and
Make your way over, and the man who's there before again, slightly sort of.
Who's gonna guide dog her to the bar, or do we not need to worry
Oh, no,
about
she
that?
can see that well.
Okay.
Enough for that.
You
Yeah.
can see
Okay.
crystal clear. But you make your way
She
to.
just can't read the labels on anything.
Yeah,
Oh,
you,
it's
make,
crystal clear the top shelf. Alcohol.
you make your way to the bar, where you can see behind 3 barrels. Again, you can't read, so you don't know what they say.
I'm gonna
But-
ask for like a top shelf, like whiskey or something.
He sort of shrugs and says, "We don't have whiskey here. Apologies. People have a taste for wine, and well, it's what the people drink. It's what we supply. I'm sorry.
Which one's the best?
That would be the one your friends have, the Red Dragon Crush, or at least some of them do. I don't know actually who ended up. Probably Ray, in fact, ended up with the cheaper wine, the sour grape mash.
I think I'm not that fussy about.
Sure, it's bitter. It stings the eyes slightly. But he sort
You
of
got
gestures.
anything in the back?
He just shakes his head and says, "I apologize. No, we have not received our wine delivery in quite some time now. Actually, yeah, it's actually overdue.
Too bad.
But
You guys doing anything for the festival?
he looks at you and raises his eyebrows slightly and just goes like sort of realize what you're saying. He goes, yeah, which one?
You have more than one? Is it all for what do they call him? The Lord of the Sun?
Well, they call him the Morning Lord.
Yeah. Is it all for
They
the
call-
Morning Lord, or is that just like? Do you have other?
We have festivals near enough every week. It is the Burgermeister's idea of keeping us safe from you know who. I'm not sold on it.
Well, you're here, aren't you?
He sort of looks across the room, 20 feet away. What? Are you up to the bar as well?
I think if
Oh,
anyone's
shit.
gonna keep you safe, it'd be the Morning Lord.
So what was that?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think if anyone's gonna keep you safe, it'll be the Morning Lord, for sure.
He looks at you sort of again, like, if that is your preaching, by all means. I respectively disagree. How do I put this? This is safe. He sort of points at the bar. That church is safe, and well, little else is safe from that man. And he sort of, sort of looks at you and says, "You're looking for a drink as well." Apologies, I seem to
No,
have gone off on a bit of a tangent.
I just drink water.
He
You
tops
got
you up.
anything? Have you got anything to eat here?
If you are inquiring for a room, we can provide the soup and bread free of charge. Alternatively, we have some other foods, which, if you bear with me just one moment, I will give you details because it is a little bit extra. But
I'll perk up at the mention of food.
I'll root through my bag and just pull out 10 gold and just be like, just give us whatever that'll cover.
he looks at you and says, I think you must be mistaken. He sort of like he pushes the gold back and he says, that is a lot of money for food, please.
And the rooms and whatever else my friends drink.
He nods and he understands. He says, "Well, we have the beet soup and fresh bread baked by my wife here, every morning. But
Oh my god, I love homemade soup. Just bring us loads.
we also have as it happens with the most recent festival, we have a cooked wolf steak as well. It is a little bit. That is a little bit extra. It is it's, one electrum per steak.
You know, I think I'll just stick with the soup for now. I'll go see if people want the other stuff, but don't worry about the change. You just keep that and keep the drinks and whatever come in that they ask for, and we'll take whatever rooms and just whatever.
He again, you see him weighing it up, and he's sort of after you see him kind of like thinking about sort of giving it back. He sort of says, "It is much appreciated. This will cover you for at least a couple of nights." Is that that you're liking?
That sounds great. Also, here's a pamphlet.
He takes the pamphlet and he sort of eyes it up and says, "Who is this Pelor?"
He's what he seems real similar to your Morning Lord. We're from out of town, so we have like different names for things. My daddy made the pamphlet. It's dead good, isn't it?
He kind of looks at it and goes, "It is inspiring." But he does give you a smile. You get that the words are maybe a little bit forced, but he gives you a smile and sort of nods. Says, "Bear with me," and he goes and grabs. You see him sort of reach back, like there appears to be like a sort of effectively not a lockbox per se, but a closed wooden box. He sort of opens it up, rummages through, and pulls out a couple of sets of keys and hands them over. And says, "These are for your rooms, of course. Like I said, the food is the simple food is available 3 times a day." If you want additional food, like I said, the steaks will cost you a little bit, but nothing of crazy merit. This is much appreciated, though. Thank you. And he takes the gold.
Also, do you guys know? Do you know if there are any? Is there a healer in the town? Do you guys have like a healer?
You see him kind of like again weigh up what he knows, and he just sort of says, "A healer, not per se. There's the St. Andrew's Church up on the up to the west, but
Sorry, what? What's it called?
St. Andrew's Church." It looks again somewhat. Yes, it is. I believe it is a. And he gestures to the sun pen. It is a church of your people, of the Morning Lord. So by all means, you can. But if the weather was cleaner, I would most recommend taking a walk. It is towards the western side of town, towards the Sunset Gate. But maybe tomorrow morning, hey?
Yeah, well, actually, I was offering my services if there's anyone who's in need.
He shrugs and says, "I'm sure you'll find people." He gestures over to the table of the 2 individuals to the north, a sort of bald bearded guy, and the other guy who looks a little bit like Trundle, but older and a bit more aged. He says, "The 2 individuals over there, they often find themselves hunting wolves. It is their trade. They are hunters. They could do with your services, but they look to be getting on just fine right now." Beyond that, he kind of just shrugs. He says, "Otherwise, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you don't have to apologize for a town not needing healing.
He says, "Well, the town is always in need of something, but I don't think it will ever get it." Anyway, thank you. And he takes the money, pockets it to make sure you take your keys, and sort of again still bemused by the blind lady, sort of with handing out pamphlets, but again he steps back and
well, I can't read them, so someone
sure. But he's cleaning the glasses and whatnot as well. As he steps back, and you rejoin the others.
Cool. Hey guys, I got us food.
Oh yes. What did you get?
Got soup and bread, and decided to skip the wolf steaks.
You skip the wolf steaks?
Did you want to eat wolf?
Sure.
Oh, you can go and ask. I gave them enough.
I get straight up and go and ask.
Sure, you go up, and the bartender sort of comes back to you and says, "So how can I help? Your friend is very generous. It is."
Oh, I know she is. Sometimes too generous for her own good, I think. But who am I to judge? I hear you have wolf steak.
He smirks slightly and says, "As you didn't tell you, no. Yes, we have some pretty fresh wolf actually. You can." And he gestures over to again those two individuals in the corner. Says you can thank them for at least some of it.
Where? Oh, over there. Oh, but why are you serving wolf steak?
Because we have wolf meat.
Well, yes, but
This is a
why?
leading question, no?
No. I mean, why do you suddenly have wolf meat? Is a thing in this town?
He looks at you and like he sort of again after a brief sort of bemused smile. He says, "You really are like have green as it comes. You've just come into town, yes."
Really, just come in. Like this is the first place we come.
Sure. He smirks and sort of says, "Well, it has been our Burgermeister's great wolf head jamboree recently."
Is it
yes.
over? Did I miss the jamboree?
He says, "Unfortunately for you, yes, you missed the jamboree. It was quite the sight." Again, you see him like really like looking at you, sort of bemused. He's like, "You really have no idea what this is, do you?"
No. What is it? Just.
It is the Burgermeister's damned attempts at trying to make everything happy and positive and wonderful. No, we might be rid of the curse up in the hills. But
Ooh, a wolf curse, I assume?
he chuckles and says, "No, you don't know."
Oh, the thing.
Devil Strahd, yes. He thinks that
That's
this will
the one, yes. The asshole
protect
Strahd.
us. And in fact, he says, "Wait a second." And he goes sort of through this door to the. Yeah, he goes through the door to the north, where you see it sort of swing open. You can hear the broiling of a pot. You see a couple of individuals in there. You see a woman who looks similar-ish to this man. Maybe, and he sort of comes up and you see him just give her a kiss before the door closes.
I just lean right over the bar. It's like practically sort of toppling myself over the side to watch him go through.
Sure. I mean, it's clear view from where you stand.
Okay.
He sort of leads off to the north. But he comes back about a minute later. He comes back with the soup and the bread and says the wolf steak will be a little bit longer. How would you like it cooked?
I
would recommend
have
at least medium. You want to make sure any parasites are cooked away.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah, I've been sick enough for one day. Yeah.
He chuckles slightly and says, "Yes, you look like you've gone blue in the face." No, I haven't. Sorry.
No, that's just my natural face.
I figured it might be. It was a little joke. And he hands you all the soup and the bread on a tray. But he also he pulls from his pocket this it looks like it's been like a poster. Not so much a poster. There's no real decoration. It's more just a handwritten note that would have been pinned to something. There's a point at which it's clearly been ripped off a wall. And he sort of just thrusts it and places it on the table in front of you. On the bar in front of you, and on the poster is this text that says, "Come one, come all, to the greatest celebration of the year, the Wolf's Head Jamboree. Attendants and children required. Pikes will be provided. In all capitals, all will be well. The Baron." And that's all it says. There's a you see that there's clearly an extra attempt at sort of happiness by putting a smiling face in the corner, and a couple of wolves have been drawn on either side. But yes, that's all it says.
This town is so Zadie's vibe.
He's like, "Unfortunately, you have missed the celebrations that we are required to attend."
Well, what do the celebrations involve? You go and hunt wolves somewhere nearby?
He chuckles and he says, "Our townsfolk do not just hunt wolves, no. We celebrate the others hunting of wolves."
Well, we saw the lot of wolf heads when we heads on spikes when we come in.
Yes,
I take it this is part of this. Yeah.
He nods. I believe so. I am not closely entwined in it, although I'm not complaining too much. We did get some wolf meat, at least. There have been festivals in the past, there will be festivals in the future. The Burgermeister is a deluded fool, but...
and you hunt them nearby here?
He shrugs and says, "I do not hunt them myself. If you want to speak to the wolf hunters, they're over there." And he gestures again to the two folks there, but it is not my I He gestures to the bar. I'm a barkeep. I'm an innkeeper.
No,
Me and
no,
my family.
But you speak to people. You know people.
Yeah,
I know how
that
this
I do.
works.
He smirks slightly. Says, "Yes. Well, as long as you collectively keep yourselves, out of trouble. I'm always appreciative of guests who will keep themselves to themselves in some regards. But by all means,
This I may find a problem, but I'll do my best.
he smirks slightly and says, "The steak will be in a few minutes." But,
Thank you. I should just sit over. I'll take this for my friend, and I'll take the bowls. I'll use mage hand to carry whatever I can't carry in my hands.
Sure. You're able to, again, it sort of floats up, and like there's a slightly bemused look, but there's nothing sort of crazy. There's a visible hand that carries it. You do notice as you're sitting and chatting that the individual sort of sitting in the corner, Trundle, the one you saw, has pointed ears, makes his way over again, sort of with his cap donned. Makes his way over to the bar. The bartender moves over again. You're not really within earshot, but he comes back out with about 2 or 3 apples and effectively a slab of raw meat, and he places it on there. And the individual sort of pays him, thanks him, has a little bit of a chat, nods, and then sort of collects it and carries it away. And you see as he disappears out the front door into the rain, as he makes his way out.
Friends.
Trundle will likely just quietly, without saying a word, as he exits, so no one, he doesn't see at least, just sort of do a sort of gesture and kind of look at everyone silently, but enough to sort of get everyone's attention enough to, just did anyone catch that, kind of silently asked if possible.
Sure. I would say that in terms of the others, considering 3 of you are facing away and probably engaged in conversation, probably not.
Well then, I'll continue to lean forward. There is someone else here. He seems perhaps like us, not from around here. I'm not sure, an elf, half, maybe as such, but it might be worth noting. He left now. Maybe we'll see him again soon. Again, Trundle will pick up his glass of wine, sip gently at it, and lean back.
If he is a traveller like us, then he will no doubt be here another evening. For now, I think perhaps we should take this as a rare opportunity for us to rest. We could gather our strength, and then move out in the morning.
There's something else too. I think it's
Just guess
important
his
to
eyes
note.
widened.
Something else too?
No, I did not say that. No, but this festival is something to do with them hunting wolves. Somewhere near here. I think we should look into that. I think we should speak to those 2. Apparently they were quite involved in it. You do remember, don't you?
I stand up and walk towards the 2 men hunting.
Mhm.
That she points towards.
Sure. They seem to be, it's just the ones at the back, the two distinct looking individuals. The other two are sort of have actually probably moved on at this point, or moved away, just in terms of spacing. These 2 are over here, but you make your way over towards them, and they're sitting there, sort of at two sides of a corner of this larger table, chatting away in sort of deep tones, and they look up as they see you approach, and sort of go. One of them, the bolder folk, sort of glances up to you. He sort of stands up and says, "Yes, what is your business?"
Is anyone joining me in this conversation? As I get
Yes,
up and
I'm
Cool.
gonna follow you as soon as you get up there. Oh, that was easy.
Trundle's a little bit. He's very apprehensive. He just doesn't enjoy being here.
Sorry, buddy.
Sorry.
Are you sorry, Mr.
I mean, I'm sorry. Gaza's not sorry.
It's totally fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Sadie would hang back and see how it goes first.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So she's again the balding guy. The other guy just sits there. You see him sort of playing with a dagger, effectively, sort of picking a hole in the table. Not threateningly. He was doing it before you approached, but as he sees you approach, he sort of flicks it and pops it away. And again, the balding guy looks again rather brutish, rather like a broad-set individual, and again he has a bow and a quiver sort of set to one side next to him. So he looks up. Yes.
Forgive me, sirs, but my friend here, and I point towards Rhea, suggests to me that you are one of hunting the wolf here type. And then, as I put my pack and satchel down, I would like to pull out and I'll just throw onto the desk 2 direwolf feet in front of him.
Sure.
Nice.
As he sort of, as you say this, and he starts.
Sorry
to
for sipping this, Randall. I'm so sorry.
As he starts to nod, and you throw out the direwolf feet, he sort of looks up at you and goes, "Not bad. Those are from the bigger creatures that like in the woods. Yes, we hunt wolves in the day. It is a dangerous business, no doubt. But you appear to be a man who understands dangerous business." And the other guy just goes, "Yes, dangerous business."
May I? And I point towards the seat across from them.
Says,
The one I'm looking at, sorry.
he says, "Time is valuable, and we will not be doing any hunting today." But he sort of nods towards the bar. "If you wouldn't mind grabbing us a drink around, perhaps we'll be happy to talk."
I'll nudge Gaza. Let me, and I'll go up and what do you want? What do you want?
The good,
Gentlemen.
the better stuff.
I'll get you the better stuff.
Better stuff.
Does,
And I'll
You
go.
should be able to be on my tab.
does Trundle hear this? Perhaps even with his heightened perception of hearing and something. Does Trundle hear this with his heightened perception of hearing from the other table?
What? Just that they want to drink?
Can I hear her getting drinks?
Yeah, you're 10 feet away.
Awesome. Can I raise my empty glass at her and kind of see if her eyes catch mine? And I'll also look slightly embarrassingly and sort of like like a child who's done something slightly silly, just at his feet, like when Richter looks at me like.
I sip my water judgingly.
I'll mage hand
What is that
his glass out of his hand and
Sure.
I'll take my hand and put it on my chest and sort of nod, and then continue to look at my feet and awkwardly look at Richter.
Sure. I mean, the bartender is sort of, whilst because you've put, if you're treating it as a couple of days of pay, you've effectively covered your costs at this point. Maybe there's a little bit extra, but as an understanding of that it was just keep the change kind of thing, it gives you the wolf steaks free of charge, or like as part of that, but he will start charging you for subsequent drinks. As he sort of looks at you and goes, "That'll be 4 silver if you're having one as well, or
yes.
you were having the other stuff, if that is preferred."
I have the steak and another 2 of your best wine for the gentleman over there.
And he says, "And what about that one?" He points to the floating glass just nearby.
Oh, that's one for my Jojo there. And another one for me too.
So he nods and taps you out glasses. 4, it'll be 4 silver effectively, as he pours you out. But by all means, just pours them out, hands them across to you, and as you approach with the flagons in hand, making your way back to the table with the 2 individuals who you see this like sort of not so much a smile peek through the crusty grey beard of the individual there. You see like a faintest smile as you approach back with the wines after handing one off to Trundle, and that is where we'll end the session tonight. We're closing in at 11. It's getting late.
Good timing.
So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
As you approach the table with drinks in hand, that's where we'll end the session. But no, fantastic guys. Congratulations on level 4.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And like I said, we'll pick this up next Tuesday. Yeah, I don't know what to say. You guys are in town. You guys are in town. There's
We're in town.
I find that with pre-written campaigns, this is a note for everyone, not just my players, but anyone watching, that with pre-written campaigns, close the door, please. Thank you. Sorry, people just coming in, just like I should just have my door shut.
Don't you look at me with your eyes?
The thing about pre-written campaigns is often it's a struggle at first.
Mom.
It's a struggle at first. Punching 11 in it, man. It's a struggle to get through. Well, not struggle to get through, but there's a definite sense of having to push players through the first few hoops. Not because they can't take initiative or anything like that, but because of the nature of a Prutan campaign. But we're kind of reaching the point. We've reached the point where that's not really happening anymore, which is good because it means that you guys step up, and you are stepping up. Don't worry. But
I think we're trying to find our characters as well, aren't we?
Of course,
more than
of course.
anything else.
But I think you've had a
I
bit
think
of
we're
time
reaching
with
a good point with that now.
Exactly.
I mean, it's all kicking off, and we are all working it out.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
You'll
saying.
have foibles.
I've been excited every week because you guys are great. But I am more excited than ever to see what happens next, because
Absolutely.
there's about a billion
Let's have
things
that
that you could
vibe
do, and it really puts me. It means that I feel the need to prep more and prep harder and whatnot, but not to like concrete you through stuff, just so I have all the avenues covered. But yeah, like I said, congratulations on level 4. You guys are gonna be fucking hard to kill, but I'll find a way.
Oh,
and-
fucker, I know you will.
Oh, I mean, there
Have
are
you
ways.
not already been
there,
trying that?
there are already ways.
Everything's an intelligence saving throw now.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, I was just
I
gonna go
have a
with.
slightly higher chance than most of you of
You
surviving.
just came
those.
out of combat. Why don't we do it again?
Yeah. Well, there was 2 sessions
Every
apart.
single time we have like a
7
big combat,
mimic doors?
it's like, hold up, no, we'll do another one.
Yeah, it's been well paced. I feel. I mean, you had
No, it's great.
you had one
It is
that
actually
ended
great.
a session, or near enough ended a session, and the next one was at the end of a session, and you carried on that combat at the start of the session, which went on a little
Yeah,
bit longer
where
than
was that,
expected.
Sophie? Sophie, where was that?
Sorry, that
Anyone
was
want to
my
ask where that
fault.
was?
It was just long. It wasn't. You would have still had to. Well, you would have still been in a fight. It just.
Hey, but
It
it
meant,
was
it meant that
hard.
you got hit
I
less
know
and
what
they got hit
I'm
less. So, I'm sure you avoided a crit or 2 in there. I'm sure. I didn't check because I was like,
Oh,
okay, it
fuck
misses.
off.
It misses.
No.
Oh, go on! I have to check this now. Yeah.
Oh, go, yeah.
Thank you as always
just
to Ian, obviously.
Yes.
Everyone, clap, 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 clap,
Absolutely.
clap.
So
Thank
much
you guys.
thanks,
buddy.
buddy.
Obviously, votes for hero point, and obviously you reset to hero points. You're on 3. Sophie, you're on 4 because I gave you one earlier. And everyone else, you'll be on
So-
3 apart from whoever gets one now.
Yes. So please don't vote for me because I've already had one.
Yeah. Well, if you
That's not how that works,
as
you
a
know
note,
that.
if you get voted for one and you really want to give it to someone else, you can do so.
Like me with my Kanye moment.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you finish. But no, thank you guys, and obviously thank you those of you who watched and chatted and whatnot. The one thing that sucks for me is that I can see all the chat, I can't interact with it because that's what I do when I stream normally. But it's great to see you guys involved, even if it is a lot of these guys as well.
Did you notice
Obviously-
that we got raided?
We did by the RPG Lab, which is awesome, really awesome.
Thank
so
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
I imagine
Thank
you
you if
probably
anyone's
raided
still
because you were
here
finishing
or
streaming.
anyone.
But unfortunately, because of the sheer number of bot fucking followers that I'm getting, it's really hard to tell who's a real person who's followed. I know that there are a few in there. I know the RPG Lab definitely did follow after the raid, so thank you for that. I'm just gonna see if I can pick out any others who I know are real people who followed, because I know that there are at least a couple more, even if it's literally 1 or 2 more. I think it was Judy MJKS, Timmy Nyana possibly, and might be Ketchup as well. Thank you for the follow. What else? There's RPG Lab, and I think Biceps MIA. That's depressing, but thank you very much for the follow. And yeah, I think that's it because all the others are fucking fake. That being said, there's also a couple of subs and a couple of raids as well. So there's a couple of there's a donation as well from Kat. So Kat, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Cannibal Pie. Cannibal Pie, hi. Thank you for the 100 bits, Brew. Thank you for the bits as well, Cannibal Pie, for just sprinkling them in there. And Kat, as again, thank you so much for funding the mic. Seriously, it's going to be going to Elliot, who's right there. I mean, it's weird because I have to point this way.
Thank
It's
you
actually
so
right there
much,
on
dude.
my screen.
I actually really
But for
appreciate
you guys,
that.
he's
It's
right there.
insane that someone's watching this and what enjoys it, likes it, and just wants to donate to just a little something like that. It actually makes so much of a difference to us. It's huge. Love it. Thank you so much.
No, I mean, seriously, we're going to get that sorted so that next week Elliot will have that in place, which is awesome. Obviously, Sean's already benefited from that, so thank you, Kat, truly.
I have.
And anyone else who's donated in the past to get this one as well, because I know that Brew, that was you as well. Thank you. Seriously, it means a lot, really. Question. Okay, Brew. So when it comes to the maps, all of the ones that are quite clearly like artistically styled to be in Count Strahd are from the Roll20 expansion thing. Effectively, you can buy some modules. I believe at the moment you can buy Storm King's Thunder, Tales from the Yawning Portal, Tomb of Annihilation. I think you buy all the ones that have come out since Storm King's Thunder, but they also retroactively went back and made the Curse of Strahd one, which is why I was quite happy to run it here, because it saves me having to basically, try and pull maps from elsewhere, which is either illegal or it's really low quality, or I'm scanning my own book in or whatever, and it's just like it's much easier to just go, okay, I'm going to spend the $30-$40 and just get it, because it saves me hours and hours and hours of planning. It has all the stat blocks, all that kind of thing. When it comes to battle maps, like the one that was used in the fight at the beginning of the session, the end of our session, I usually try and find ones that are DRM free. I always try and give credit where credit can be given. But the ones where people have given them out for free on the internet, I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head where that one came from. But I've used that one in the past, and again, because I try and source them from DRM free site places, or places where you attribute them, then that's where they come from. That one isn't from Roll20 though, but but all of the Curse of Strahd specific maps are. So yeah, obviously you guys can't see the scene. I will just quickly jump to the scene so you can see what it looks like where everyone is now. Players don't watch this in the future because you'll get names, you'll get other stuff going on. Just this little bit here, but this is post game stuff anyway. So yeah, that's it, I suppose. I know that Sean needs to go, so I reckon unless anyone else wants to chill for a little bit, we've already done our leveling, then we're just gonna wrap for tonight and do our own wind down off stream.
I'm happy to chill for whenever.
I'm just gonna wind down stream. This is what I'm saying.
I wouldn't mind the wind down first. That's all I'd say. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right. But thank you guys for coming along as always.
Yeah.
Again, this will be up on YouTube Friday or Saturday. I usually try and get it out by then, because unless it needs editing, it is quite easy to just export it from. Thanks, Mel. Especially from the. From here, it often is as easy as just exporting it. So that saves me a lot of time. So yeah, you guys make this fun. Those people around me, you guys make this interesting. Those of you watching, and I will. I'll see you Thursday, and for the rest of you, we'll see you next week.
Woo! Peace.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Peace out, guys.
Bye, guys. Go on.
Bye.
Bye.